Ahoy, landlubbers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. Jeez. I apologize. We're playing more Raincode. Listen, and I said this last week to some extent. I really do. I honestly, and you can debate me on this or disagree, I really feel like I've given this game quite the benefit of doubt. And yet, it has pretty consistently disappointed. And now that we've reached what I'm pretty sure is the final case, man, jeez. I mean, I know I've made a lot of comparisons between Raincode and the Somnium Files games, which we played on stream. And we were discussing it a little bit in chat before I started recording. But, like, I've now played the first Somnium Files game twice. And the first time, I came away with it with like a pretty negative takeaway. And the second time, I honestly appreciated it a decent chunk more than I initially did. But like, I still feel like that was a game that had a really good twist and a generally good mystery story whose like delivery and execution kind of botched the ordeal and made it something that was like way less good than it could have been. Raincode, listen, we're not done yet. Maybe there's some really cool twist here. And honestly, despite the fact that this last case is just a bunch of people like expositioning the plot at us instead of us actually doing any amount of detective work, I do feel like there's a cool idea in here. But I feel like even by the time we get around to it, in some cases we've like theorized cooler things together collectively. And in some cases just like it's taken us so long and been such a slog to get to this point that, like, even if it was good, it's hard for me to appreciate it at face value. But, like, how much do we have left? My estimate is that including tonight, we probably have somewhere in the ballpark of 3 weeks of this. I don't know if that's true. Also, hi, Justin. Welcome to the stream. We were so excited at the start. We were! I mean, like, Shinigami's character design was great. There was... We had a lot of discussions about how, like, early on we kind of felt like there was a better, like, banter dynamic between Yuma's, like, stark innocence and Shinigami's, like, lewdness. And then, like, almost as if to spite me, like, the game really rapidly devolves into, like, Shinigami being, like, one of the least consistently written characters in recent fictional memory. And in order to like try and sweep that under the rug, they're like, okay, here's the one consistent trait she has, is that she's super like misogynistic and hates other women, and it's weird and uncomfortable all the time. And it's like, oh, that's a lot worse than the initial impression, to be sure. Hi, Volpixie. All right, the chat has gathered. We've talked about desserts, and now it is time to play Raincode, and so we must recap. This is going to be hard, because we learned a lot and also nothing, which is kind of the MO of Raincode. I'm going to say this, because I've been reflecting a lot about Raincode as we approach the end of it. One thing that I think this game is consistently doing badly is something that I've complained about and been frustrated with in all manner of like mystery stories that I've like encountered in the past several years. Which is like, I don't know why people who write mysteries now like don't make mysteries or clues or like a sense of discovering the truth or anything. So, like, for example, the problem I have is that, like, we have this cool mystery that we're doing now that, like, could turn out to be something interesting. But, like, instead of, like, uncovering clues, all the information we've gathered has all come, like, now. None of it has been uncovered at any point earlier in the story. There's no gradual build-up or discovering parts of it and fitting the piece together or anything like that. Like, it basically, all the important information has all come, like, within the last stream. And the primary methods that's been delivered to us are notes just like literally telling us history that like we had no other information or way to find out about, like basically some unseen force basically telling us the plot of the game. And then that same like literal unseen force, I'm not being figurative, like talking to us over like a PA system and directing us to specific zombies that we can talk to. So like I don't know if you and I are the same, but like that's not very satisfying. It'd be cool if we like did some detective work, but like none of these cases pretty much involve detective work at all. There's very few select moments where you do, and then the game kind of just speeds on and someone makes a sexist comment. It's not great. Anyway, to recap, so we awoke in a strange Japanese style house with Kurumi Wendy. We went outside, we saw no one. It was raining, of course, because we're still somewhere in Kanai Ward. We quickly determined that we were in the restricted zone, or whatever we call it, because we went to talk to a stranger to see if they could help us, and it was actually a zombie in a raincoat. And then we proceeded to encounter essentially every character we've seen die over the course of the game attacking us as zombies. Then an unseen force shot an arrow note at us, warning us that we're in Homunculus Town, and if homunculi don't eat human flesh, then they basically behave like zombies. They don't strictly become zombies, but they always have the latent tendency to be like zombies if they haven't recently eaten human flesh, which is concerning because, like, there's no good way out of that. Or so we thought until the game railroaded us into a meat bun processing factory that we're all but certain the game is slow rolling us to inform us that it's Soylent Green buns and their people. It seems very likely. It's already been rumored that the restricted zone has some sort of corpse processing facility, and the only thing we've seen is this factory that makes meat buns. We found a bunch of notes explaining this confusing thing about how the unified government, which, like, we're not even really entirely sure how the unified government works or what it is, but it represents some common interest of the unnamed nations of this fictional world, decided to fund, like, 2 different homunculus research labs, or maybe one, and then Kanai Ward decided to just, like, try and beat them to figuring out what a homunculus is, or something. They seem to be going back and forth on exactly what their own plot was. It didn't inspire confidence. But in that process, we spoke to some zombie characters who had just enough information to imply that, like 5 years ago, Dr. Huesca tried to, like, speed up his timeline of experimentation, which resulted in the blank week. And even like the zombies that have some recollection of their former lives don't seem to be fully sure what blank week is. With some discussion in chat, our prevailing theory is that blank week was a period of time where, like, homunculus duplicates of everyone in Kanai Ward were accidentally or intentionally made with these weird pod devices that we have seen in large quantities, and everyone's memories had to be erased so that they could be installed as like a duplicate of the town and not be suspicious of the fact that they're all like corpse-eating homunculi or something. Then we ran into our old mentor and recent betrayer, Jaco Furio, who gave us like a CD-ROM, and then we played it on a computer, and it was this really cryptic message about how the homunculi have some kind of weakness, but it was all garbled and we don't know what it said. Oh, also, between those last 2 points, we did encounter the literal actual former CEO of Amaterasu Corporation, the one who runs the entirety of Kanai Ward. And he like told us like another weird part of the story where he was like, yeah, the unified government was going to like seize the entire Kanai Ward until Makoto, the masked guy, like went to a meeting and like somehow made an agreement with them that they wouldn't be attacked by the entire world government if they agreed to shut themselves off from the world and oust their former CEO and put Mask Guy in charge. I feel like that covers a lot of the bases of the basics of what we learned last week. In the course of that recap, I now have one more comment to add to that theory. Yeah, the Matrix egg pod machine. Basically, for sure, basically. Nirvana Initiative made more sense than this. It did. That's actually a really good point, Ditto. I mean, like, we haven't necessarily gotten to the Deus Ex Mama portion of this game, which thankfully, like, makes sense. Like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. So, like, maybe there's a point at which this finally makes sense, but, like, even that game was kind of rough around the edges with that reveal. And this feels like it's almost definitely gonna be worse. Also, thank you for that resub in there, Alcadia. 77 months. That sounds very lucky. Says, my friend tried to tell me bird puns trying to get me to laugh, but he didn't realize Toucan play that game. Nice. I feel like I need a laugh track. I feel like I would abuse it badly, but I feel like it would be a good thing to have. Let's go over the game. Good, it's still working. Let's play Raincoat. So yeah, I think we should be right at the start of that sewer tunnel.
Way too long, and none of it sounds true at all.
Yeah, now in my defense, the reason none of that sounds true is because the game is written poorly. It was my choice to go on too long with that recap. That's fair. The closest to a laugh track. I don't know if that's literally actually true. Someday I also need to get myself like a loop of walking sounds from one of the Zero Escape games. Also, someone earlier, I think Castle said, like, as bad as this game and Nirvana Initiative are, neither one is close to Zero Time Dilemma. And believe it or not, because I know several of you aren't familiar with that game, hard agree. Now, I am biased in that, and I'll cop to it, but hard agree. So I said a moment ago during my recap that there was one more thing that I sort of thought of while giving that recap that might be true and might be relevant, but might be too smart for this game. I don't know. Hear me out. What if the reason that Conai Ward had to be isolated is because Conai Ward didn't exist until the blank week? Like, maybe Conai Ward is just in its entirety the dumping ground for the failed experiment that is Project Homunculus. Like, I don't know exactly how we get artificial memories, or if everyone just, like, woke up in town and was like, sure, I guess I work here in this horrible company town where it always rains. But, like, Shinigami, where were you? Where did you just come from? Like, I've been idling here for, like, a whole minute. But, like, yeah, maybe it's, like, not a coincidence that, like, the world government was, like, trying to take this place by storm. Maybe they were like, oh my god, there's, like, a whole region where, like, zombies live, and we're gonna kill them with our unified world army because this was a terrible idea. And then Makoto was like, no, I'm gonna, like, put all the homunculi in a town and then have them play house, and it'll be great, I promise. Just no one ever come there for any reason because it'll be filled with zombies. One last thing I would like to note before we properly start, although I guess I could start walking because I got some way to go, is that, like, we wandered, like, all the way out here to this, like, weird sewer tunnel with all the plot in it. After, like, we kind of lost track of our ally Kurumi Wendy, and, like, we didn't really have any reason to immediately go outside? No, that's not true. We saw, like, a weird person walking.
Oh, to be clear, that's a compliment. A normal person would have fled. Anyone with even the slightest bit of a conscience wouldn't be able to take it.
Be able to take what?
Here you are.
Wouldn't be able to take solving mysteries because there were consequences because this place is so ethically messed up. But yeah, like, it just seems so baffling to me that, like, we just decided to, like, leave that place where Kurumi was without any sense of her safety or where she was or if she needed our help. and we just like followed some leads, and then like the disembodied voice over the speaker that was just like taunting us was like, hey, by the way, like I just put Kurumi Wendy in danger. I don't know what you're doing. It's like, yeah, I don't feel like we should have needed a disembodied plot voice to tell us that. Oh yeah, that's a great point, Sarah. I did omit from my recap that the voice is trying to convince us.
Using your abilities, but you're actually using a death god's powers, aren't you?
That's weird. I am like 10,000% sure that we will not get a satisfying summary of the origin of the death god powers or like any lore surrounding that. It's all going to be hot trash. But yeah, so like when we were going through that factory with all the Soylent Green buns, someone put all the clothes of our friends on the floor around some bones, and they're like, oh no, it looks like zombies ate all your friends. Anyway, here's some plot. It's been like a weird period of time. Yeah, Naked Desico is way scarier than the zombies for sure. That's true.
Huh? This guy knows about me? How?
Perhaps
Guttural
you're
noise.
trying to corner me with all these acrobatics.
No, I didn't put any skill points in acrobatics. I'll basically automatically fail
But
that.
in truth, this is the worst possible move you can make. You can never outsmart me.
Oh, crap. That means that we're not going to win Survivor, right? Because you gotta outwit, outplay, and outlast. Oh, hang on, some points.
This is...
Cargo delivered to the factory is piled up. No one signed for this stuff in weeks.
But
Everything's covered in dust, so it must have been placed here some time ago. But it's also being rained directly on. I mean, I guess rain can accumulate dust on things. But it feels like the fact that it's still and continuously raining would prevent the dirt from caking on, wouldn't it? It feels like it would. Anyway, back in this door, I guess. I don't know. It's just so frustrating how many of these games have such... Like, I love an unlikely, like, useless detective story if it's done well. But, like, neither this nor Somnium Files, I think, does it intentionally or thoughtfully. Like, at this point in the game, they want us to think that Yuma has, like, grown so much that he's, like, basically a capable detective. But, like, almost nothing has changed in regards to his skill since the start of the game. The thing that's changed is his conviction. And I realize that we've shown some story arc there. Not a lot, but enough to function. And I realize how that's important to the story as they want to tell it. But, like, I don't get any sense that, like, left to his own devices, he's any more competent at solving a case on his own. This is acrobatics is such a dumb stat. If I was destined to faceplant, I was going to faceplant. I mean, all I could say to that is I am destined to faceplant. Also, because it's a holiday weekend, I'm very excited. I'm super much looking forward to finally playing some Baldur's Gate 3. No one cares, but I'm so excited about it, I feel like I have to mention it. Also, why did we think she would be here? This is, like, literally, like, down the hall, maybe? Like, it's within eye shot. Is that a thing? There's earshot. Is eye shot a thing? We're standing where we would be able to see where we lost sight of Kurumi Wendy before. And, like, she wasn't there when we left. Why would she be here now?
Kurumi! Where are you?
knowing that Flatty's personality, she wouldn't go back the way she came. Try looking for her up ahead.
Right. Let's look that way first.
Even now, when our communal goal is to save her life, Shinigami is referring to Kurumi Wendy as, like, just some nameless, flat-chested woman. Isn't that great? Doesn't everyone love that? Isn't that great? iShot is a thing. Yes! By streaming Baldur's Gate 3. I've thought about it, and I've talked a little about it. I just don't think it's feasible. Like, I have a day job. I don't have time to, like, stream, like, what is the actual, like, minimum expected time of a run? You know I'm not gonna hit that threshold. But it's gotta be at least, like, 60 hours, right? That's like a whole year of streaming or something, probably. Like, there's just no way. Like, I would love to live in the world where that's true, where, like, I'm somehow make enough money off streaming to, like, stream a game like that full time. I would absolutely love that. But, like, just there's no way, I don't think.
Right here, Master!
Did they put more clothes next to the other zombie clothes? Or did this door just suddenly open? Oh, this door suddenly opened.
Before you know it, the truth is right in front of you.
No, wait, that's something else. The truth is something else.
Have you been enjoying my party?
I'll give you anecdotes about Baldur's Gate if chat's actually interested in them. I'll say that I've looked a little bit into character options because I know they're a little different. At least my understanding is they're a little different from actual D&D, which I only have a little bit of familiarity with the current version. I'm leaning towards, I don't quite remember the right terminology for it, but like I'm leaning towards doing a deep woods gnome that is a knowledge domain cleric, with the concept of my character being that she was raised by wolves and only recently found out she was adopted, and then suddenly sort of discovered like a world of people, and like is just so fascinated with the idea of this world she didn't know that she's just trying to learn as much as she can. It's a very stupid idea, but all of my character ideas are just so profoundly stupid.
So, it is you after all. Makoto Kagutsuchi! It's you, isn't it? The white smoke that knocked us out at the detective agency was from that gift you gave me!
Just... when you say it out loud, you have to appreciate how stupid this whole game is. And like the tone, like the absolute earnest, sincere tone with which he says this, in just like a mildly like scolding manner. Like, you didn't do your chores today, did you? Like, Makoto Kagutsuchi, you gave me a present that knocked me unconscious and took me to a zombie farm, didn't you?
What's your
So
goal
stupid.
Here? What are you trying to make me do?
Please continue enjoying the rest of the tour.
Damn it!
How many times did I warn you to stay away from him? You should have listened.
You know what this game really could have used? Like, I feel like I don't mind the heavily overplayed amnesia component to this game. Like, amnesia is like super heavily used both in detective stories and in visual novels, meaning a visual novel about a detective story will definitely have amnesia in it. But like, I feel like we needed like a personal goal. Like, this game wanted our experience to be that the personal goal is trying to figure out what our personal goal is. And like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that is really stupid, and the more you think about it, it gets dumber. But like, like, even if it was like you or someone like left you some like weird note like in your pocket when you woke up with amnesia, and it was like, you must learn the truth about Project Homunculus, then like at least you'd have this like compelling sense that like you personally needed to find that truth, and that even though it was dangerous, it made sense to do it because like someone instructed you to do it. You know, like something that minor. But like, I mean, I don't care for this line from Shinigami because like Shinigami sucks, and it like equally gives us like good and terrible advice, and the good advice typically feels accidental. But like, I don't think this says as much about her character as it does about the story. It's like, well, like the game really didn't give us any choice but to trust him. But like, he was always super suspicious, but you literally have to trust him. So like, it doesn't feel as though I'm like, oh man, could I have done something differently? it just kind of reminds me that I should be mad at the game because, like, I had no agency and it doesn't make any sense to begin with. Like, that's my response to this. Also, Kronos, I think I actually know the detail you're talking about. Because I've watched a little bit of people play early parts of the game. Baldur's Gate 3. Of course, I don't think that the specificities of the random backstory I come up with necessarily get incorporated into the game unless it's even more deep and rich and weird than I know it to be.
It's all too late now. Besides, I'm sure from the moment I got on the Amaterasu Express, I was fated to meet Makoto.
It's too obvious of a setup to call it fate. This is way more like the perfect crime or something.
No, it's not that. Listen, there's no shot this is the perfect crime. There's, like, nothing about this game that is perfect, except, like, perfectly offensive dialogue towards women. That one I'll grant you. Not, like, a super prestigious award, but I do think it's hard-earned. Looks like there's some points over here that won't be useful to me. Maybe I shouldn't go that way. That looks like a rare hunter from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is there something interesting this way? This isn't where I came from, right? There's another one of those quality control officers. Oh look, the buns haven't been cooked yet. It's just a little meatball on like a tortilla or something. Okay. See, now I'm at this weird crossroads where I've had so little agency in the game, I'm like half tempted to just like skip that clearly important thing that I just saw, but I really ought to talk to that person. I don't think it'll actually make the game any better to not talk to this rare hunter and stake my rarest card on the chance at getting a locator card for the Battle City Finals.
Is that the hitman who killed the chief?
Is it? Who the heck would have killed him?
Is it you? Is it really you? Are you Fink the Slaughter Artist?
Sarah's an interesting observation. It also makes me feel really bad that the first case implies that you could change the fate of the story by finding the correct culprit in the mystery labyrinth, and if you mess up, things will go differently. When you literally have no agency. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not a big fan of games giving you a false sense of agency unless it does it really cleverly, which this game essentially moderately implies that with the first case and then just doesn't do it at all. So like there's nothing clever about that. They just like didn't do a hard thing that would make it interesting. But like I'm fine with like a linear game, especially like a mystery where I understand there's a correct answer to the mystery or whatever. Oh my god, that's such a great analogy, Castle. Phelps, you got the wrong man. Nothing will happen to you. Yeah, that was also really annoying in L.A. Noire, that very similar thing. Where like that game is very clearly framed as though like, oh man, it's really important that you did your detective work because there's all these possible suspects and like it would be really bad if you got the wrong one. And like it absolutely doesn't matter at all. Like even if you do well in the cases, they'll be like, for political reasons, you got like bumped down to some other department for a while because the story kind of needs you to be there even if you didn't screw up.
Hold on, Master! He's not in any condition to talk!
I did my job.
If he's not in a condition to talk, why is she so frantic? Like, if he's not able to talk, he's probably not able to, like, kill us or whatever.
He talked!
Just like always.
Okay. We're gonna need to talk about something over there in a minute.
The only difference, the target was a detective.
Right, but, like, detective is, like, a four-letter word around here. It means something completely different than, like, killing a member of the police or something.
Is he talking about what happened?
During
Obviously.
that, lot of commotion. Still, I did my job.
I do agree. It very, very much sounds like Vivia Twilight.
I knew it'd be a tough job from the start.
Wait, I don't think I actually knew this.
Couldn't refuse.
Ditto says, in L.A. Noire, there are even 2 times where the game doesn't even present the correct person to finger even if you play perfectly. There's, like, something interesting in that, but, like, given the actual experience of playing L.A. Noire, man, that's really annoying. Like, it's vaguely validating to hear that, I guess, because I know that the playthrough that Tech and I did is famously very bad, but, like, just, wow. Wow. Yikes forever.
Makoto Kagutsuchi introduced me.
Huh?
The client didn't. No,
Yikes
but
forever.
otherwise, I would have refused the job.
What? I don't understand that. I get he's saying that he was put up to the job by Makoto, and Makoto is influential enough that he persuaded him to do the job that he wouldn't have done otherwise because it was needlessly risky or whatever. But, like, is he saying there's something at odds with the client didn't know, but otherwise I would have refused the job? Like, if the client knew Makoto was involved, you wouldn't take the job? Or is the client didn't know completely an irrelevant sentence, and this is referencing the previous statement that Makoto was involved? Stop using William Shatner telegraph speech and just talk to me, zombie.
After completing the job, I was told I knew too much.
I also think it's the latter, but then, like, why put that in there? It makes that sentence really confusing.
Damn.
Master, if what he's saying is true,
What? What if what he's saying is true? It feels irrelevant to me.
Makoto was the one who instigated the chief to hire the hitman.
Okay, does that matter? Why would I care about that?
Does that mean he knew about the chief and Yomi's plot and took advantage of it?
Yeah, probably. I feel like that was at least somewhat implied. And whether or not it's true, like, it doesn't change any of the events. Like, there was already a mastermind who, independently of Makoto's involvement, would have caused that doctor to die and our chief to be used as method of execution and be killed in the process. So, like, Makoto knowing about it or not knowing about it doesn't change any of the garbage that already happened that we, like, were upset about. Like, this is irrelevant.
All to eliminate Yomi. And he took the chief's life, too.
Oh, and don't get me started on Yomi Hellsmile and how his entire character in this game is, like, just a plot device and plot contrivance. Like, if Makoto has even half the influence he should have, or like a third of the influence it's implied that he has now, with him suddenly being mastermind of all things in Kanai Ward, despite perpetually acting like his hands are tied over every minor inconvenience, then, like, he should have been able to oust Yomi ages ago. So, like, why not do it? It just doesn't make any sense.
Even me being there was part of his plan. He's had me in the palm of his hand all along.
Like, emotionally, I feel like this would matter more if he had played dumb and we thought we were smarter than him, or if we trusted him and he betrayed us, but, like, none of that's true. He was, like, a suspicious guy who, like, always knew more than he was telling us, and that was clearly the case. So, like, this isn't a huge surprise, even if it is upsetting.
If that's the case, I'll make him pay.
Why would this suddenly be the thing you care about? Like, again, Yomi would have gotten the chief killed regardless. Also, I really need to understand what's happening here. So, like, our little meatball tortillas go in, then, like, pure lava gets dripped on them, and then they come out as fully formed meat buns. What cooking technique is this that I definitely don't know about? molten
Killing
meat.
the hitman
I think
once
that's
the
it.
job was complete. Makoto Kagutsuchi sure is thorough. It's like he's totally emotionless. At this point, I
What's your
respect the guy more than I fear him.
Is it like he... whatever. Not even... Don't get me... Listen, Shigami, don't get me started. That's the hot sauce. It's very hot. Yeah? Okay, sure.
They're all bunched up over there again. I think we can stick to the same old strategy.
It's fine. I already know where the tablet is, because I was paying attention when I came here before. Also, just like, this isn't... I just need you all... I'm just issuing a reminder that this isn't a gameplay mechanic. It's a contrivance. Of which there are many in this game. This game is very fond of them. Fubuki, no! Sorry, Fubuki's the only character I care about.
Belong to Fubuki.
I didn't particularly want to see her spine, even though, and this is true, no one is dead.
Ah, poor thing. Yet again, another one of your friends was
The
devoured.
servants call me Dummy Thick.
It's true. I bet she was an absolutely tempting target because of how thick she was.
The biggest dimwit survived the longest.
It's
Perhaps thanks to her overpowered ability.
Her overpowered ability? Who talks like that? You can't be self-aware you're in a video game and then have a plot this stupid.
It's Fubuki's handwriting.
She's even stronger than my mom.
I appreciate this elaborate tribute involving all of the sound effects from Trigger Fire. Dude, it says, it's like I can still hear her. Yeah. F's in chat for Fubuki.
Homunculus experiment report. My apologies. I do not understand what is on the computer screen, so I will copy it down, word for word.
I really appreciate that, like, Fubuki's personality causes her to just, like, give us a hint as to what's going on here. She, like, can't just play along. She, like, has to be Fubuki, and she's like, this doesn't make any sense, so I'm just writing it down. If it doesn't make any sense to you, that's not my fault.
3 years ago, the Unified Government's research facility successfully created the first homunculus. The
Hooray!
secret to their success was the DNA used as the core for their artificial cells. Their focus was on individual differences in DNA, so they experimented with various peoples.
Various people would be troubling enough. Various peoples, again, feels like it treads dangerously into that verbiage we were talking about last week, Demolition. Sarah says, I'd love to know each of the words she doesn't understand. I mean, it may just be the sum total of what's written doesn't make sense to her because it's part of the plot.
They found success in one person's DNA, someone believed to have the world's greatest mind.
Dora the Explorer? She always seems to know what's up.
But because of that greatest mind, the completed homunculus was able to reflect on its condition.
Okay. So then Makoto is a homunculus clone of someone from the World Detective Organization. And as a result, he wanted to make a society of homunculi. Something. We're almost there. We're almost there.
As a result, it realized it was a homunculus and escaped the research facility.
I mean, I definitely understand this concept, but there's something really funny to me about the idea. It thought really hard and obviously realized it was a homunculus. Like, given enough time, you're like, ah, my blood is hot pink after all, isn't it?
Currently, that specimen is still missing.
So the UG's research facility successfully created a homunculus 3 years ago.
I really don't know why, but like right above Yuma's shoulder, just like this particular conglomeration of like the meatball tortillas like flying around at different angles really amuses me. Whoop, 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 whoop.
And Project Homunculus occurred at the same time.
Yeah, because they were either both funded by the UG or not, or something.
So that's why Amaterasu Corp grew impatient.
The key point is that the specimen went missing. Probably has nothing to do with this city, though.
Oh no, okay, hold on. No, I got it. The way that's framed, Makoto is a clone of someone from the World Detective Organization who's smart and powerful enough to be a stable homunculus, and he escaped because he's so smart. Meanwhile, in the Kanai ward, or whatever functional group Amaterasu had, they pushed through Project Homunculus and caused the blank week, which seems to have made a huge quantity of homunculi who are less stable and prone to becoming zombie-like if they are hungry for human flesh, which feels kind of like a tautology, but I think is technically true. And the reason why they keep saying that, they say both that he showed up around the time of that experiment and that, like, Makoto loves the people of this city. They keep emphasizing that he loves the people of this city is because he realized he was a homunculus. He found out about the other homunculi, and then he negotiated with the unified government, was like, listen, I'm gonna make Margaritaville, but for homunculi, and we'll put up a big wall so we don't eat anybody, but you just don't blow us up with missiles and tanks and things.
But what's this about someone having the best brain in the world? They gotta be exaggerating.
Why is that, Shinigami? And he says, hello, I spent way more time playing a demo than I think is reasonable. I don't know, man. I played the tutorial to Cobalt Core like 4 times. Why I send Yuma here? Because he has some kind... Like, because Yuma was able to make a deal with Shinigami for value or whatever. I don't know what the purpose is. We haven't even gotten clues really as to like what our character was like beforehand. I realized we had amnesia this whole game, but like in a lot of games you at least like get clues, right? Like this game is just so clue averse. It's like really irritating. But like, so he had to be someone important at the World Detective Organization in order to access that book. Or at least important and capable enough initially to have been able to break in to steal it or something. And so I think that independently, because we kind of have reason to suspect that Yuma wasn't deliberately sent here to investigate the way the other detectives were, that he kind of just got on the train and like made it here by mistake or whatever. So like, I think the notion is that, like, he made the deal with Shinigami so that he could get to the bottom of this mystery because it has implications for the whole world or whatever. Why investigate at all? I mean, like, the World Detective Organization at the high ranks seemed to have some awareness of, like, at least some vague awareness of homunculi, and also the fact, like, the case they told us they were investigating was, like, people being kidnapped and brought here or something. The World Detective Organization will investigate any mystery they have found. As much as that sounds like a joke, that is actually a great point, Anime. As we know, we must murder all mysteries. If they were aware of a mystery, they would have been compelled to solve it. What is this game followed any kind of logic? I don't know, but I'm trying because listen, I'm a reasonably smart individual. It's difficult for me to play a game that purports that it's based on a coherent mystery and not at least attempt to make sense of it, even though I know it's in vain. It's human nature or something. Fubuki's investigation yielded this report about homunculus experiments. She definitely didn't just copy it down from a computer and then even told us that in the note itself.
Yuma!
Oh my god, Kurumi Wendy isn't dead.
Kurumi!
Oh, she put up her hood. She was safe.
Are
It's
you
fine.
okay? Where were you?
I'm sorry. I thought I saw someone who looked like Aiko.
Okay, but like she's a best case still a zombie though.
Aiko? Your friend who passed away 6 months ago?
Yes. I lost you when I went looking for her.
This is a weird time to wink. I don't know why the character portrait is winking here. Is that an innuendo? I went looking for her.
But I got to talk to her a bit. She looked and talked differently from how I remembered.
Yeah, because she's like a zombie. Dude, what's wrong with everyone?
Still, I finally got to say goodbye. I think she understood.
She probably didn't because she's like a zombie.
That's good to hear. I got to see Chief Yako back there too.
The chief? Did you speak to him?
Briefly, he gave me a CD-ROM. I think it was in Carta?
No, not really. But he did hand me something that exposes the truth about this place.
No, it doesn't. That wording is far too strong. All it tells us is that they, like, made homunculi and they have a weakness. The very existence of this place makes it clear that the homunculi exist. Ooh, it's a copy of Myst, you say? Unfortunately, I'll never be able to get to the bottom of this because that piano puzzle is impenetrable to me.
That sounds like something the chief would do. Oh, right. There was something I remembered after talking with Aiko.
What do you mean?
I hope there's already so much stupid exposition. I want this to be completely unrelated to anything, but only Fubuki would be capable of that. Of telling me, like, my childhood cat was named Mittens. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I don't know, I just remembered that.
I'm so glad Kurumi's alright.
Don't breathe a sigh of relief just yet, Master. The Flatty said she remembered something.
I need you all to be aware that whatever's about to happen could just be a cutscene.
Let's see what she has to say.
Let me check the body for points.
That's not it!
Master.
No, there's no points to be had. I just, like, don't understand why this wouldn't just be part of the same conversation we already rendered. You tried me so far? No, because that's, like, new information from, like, 2 years ago or something.
What did you remember?
Aiko really hated syringes. She'd raise hell whenever the school gave out vaccines.
Now, that sounds unrelated, but I know we're gonna get there.
Where's this coming from?
I'm getting there. I mentioned syringes to see if it was really Aiko I was talking to. Then I suddenly remembered. A few years ago, something bizarre happened in the city.
What happened?
Everyone in Kanai Ward had to take a blood test. The Peacekeepers ordered it, and no one could refuse.
Quite the offer.
Forced blood test?
This is dumb. I agree, Sarah, but also, you could just, like, leave that in your, like, computer's clipboard and just, like, paste it every, like, 15 minutes and I would still agree. Like, you could just, like, spam that, I'm not sure I would notice. I'd be like, yeah, it is.
Back then, we were told it was to test for a contagious disease. I had no reason to doubt it at the time. But my grandpa didn't actually get tested. He said it was suspicious how the Peacekeepers were enforcing it.
Everything about the Peacekeepers is suspicious. Like, why cherry pick?
You mean your grandpa who went missing?
Yeah. And you know what? Grandpa disappeared right after the blood test. He and his friends did everything they could to make sure no one found out they avoided the test.
Now, was he specifically eliminated or vanished or whatever simply because he refused to comply, or was he refusing to comply because he had whatever trait they were looking to verify, like he was human and he couldn't be in the homunculus town or vice versa or whatever.
But right after it happened, Grandpa was caught and completely vanished.
Sarah elaborates. I saw my dead best friend I wanted to say goodbye to, so I tried to torment her just in case. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, Sarah, you're not thinking like a video game character. This is the sort of video game character logic that actually gets used all the time, and for some reason, that's fine. Tito says, we're tormenting you, which I can't help but read in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series intonation. Not sure if that was intended as such. Remember all the good times we had, Yugi? Flashback. We're tormenting you. Oh, yeah.
The same happened to anyone who didn't take the test.
Hold on, Kurumi. By it, do you mean...
Sorry, decided to turn on the fan. I'm like right at that line where like I maybe don't need the fan, but it's getting a little warm in here. Living in a desert in like a greenhouse of an apartment does afford me some complications when it comes to regulating temperature. Sarah's response to this.
I might get wet down there.
It's the same kind of implication.
Blank week mystery?
Huh? Yeah, I do.
Why were you so surprised if it's literally the thing you were implying? Why are you caught off guard by that? By contrast, there's me under a blanket and 2 layers of clothing. See, that's me in the morning. And then in the afternoon it gets a little warm. It's like the combination of like running the oven to make dinner and then like having all the lights on and the computer on and like everything. It heats the room up like just a little bit, but like we're right at that line where it's like starts to get uncomfortable after a while.
All I've heard is that the blank week mystery is a taboo within Kanai Ward.
That's like literally not true. We've like heard other crap about the blank week mystery, you goon.
Can you tell me about it? What exactly is the blank week?
How have we not had a conversation with Karumi Wendy about the blank week? No, I guess she did vanish when we were talking about the blank week mystery with Zilch. I don't know, that feels very convenient in a stupid way.
I can't tell you anything.
Doesn't look like anything to me. Yeah, girl's a homunculus. To be clear though, don't say that in public. I've gotten in a lot of trouble for saying that.
What? Why? No matter who you ask, you'll get the same answer. That's because no one remembers it.
I mean, it feels like that's the answer you should give instead of saying like I won't tell you about it or whatever.
What do you mean? You don't remember?
I mean, not simply saying the word homunculus castle, but like just out in public, if like you see like a woman eating human flesh or whatever, and you're like, girl's a homunculus, people are like, whoa, you can't say that. It's 2024.
I woke up one day and the entire city was ruined. It was like a tornado had swept through. Not only were the outdoors destroyed, but the inside of our homes too.
That's weird. Does the blank week mystery correspond with when the FDA shut down the Taco Bells in Kanai Ward or something?
Something terrible must have happened while we were sleeping, but none of the residents remember a thing.
I gotta say, it's been a while since I've seen While We Were Sleeping, but I don't think it was that bad.
How could that be possible?
In fact, my home was torn to pieces too. But I don't remember anything that happened back then.
To shreds, you say?
But that's not all. Within that time, the date in Kanai Ward had moved forward by a week.
A whole week passed while you were asleep?
I think so, but we never quite found out what really happened. When we woke up, everyone in Kanai Ward barely even noticed that it had been completely ravaged.
why this is the moment that this chooses to bother me? Women in chat, if you live in Conai Ward, which is notorious for it raining literally all the time for 3 years, would you really go outside with shorts that are so short it looks like you're not wearing pants under your raincoat? I get the shorts thing is sort of just like a comfort thing, but like if it's raining all the time, this feels like a weird choice, right?
Businesses with dealings outside the city were aware they had a week of no activity. But right afterwards, Conai Ward was completely isolated, so no one could look into it. In the end, it was all forgotten while things were still uncertain. No, I think it's more accurate to say we chose to forget. It was all too bizarre and scary.
Sarah says, I wouldn't go out in shorts that short in the summer in Florida. That honestly seems fair to me. Also, I really can't get behind this, like, slow, prolonged wink thing. It's really weird and unsettling.
It kind of became a touchy subject, and no one wanted to talk about it.
Oh, come on, headphones. Don't be the annoying thing today.
So that's why the blank week mystery became taboo.
Nothing about what she said was a very compelling reason. Think she's wincing? I guess there's an argument for that. I don't know. Her expression just felt very, like, neutral.
There were lots of different rumors about it at the time, but no one knows what really happened. Some people said that Conai Ward's clocks had all malfunctioned.
That's a really stupid theory.
Some said we were all drugged by some organization.
Did everyone win gift boxes from Amaterasu Corporation?
Others think our internal clocks got messed up and we all fell asleep for a week.
And this is why we finally voted out daylight saving time?
But we don't know the truth.
What do you think happened? It's like time froze for the whole city.
All we know is that my grandfather and others like him completely vanished back then. Conai Ward's unending reign also began right after those events.
Huh?
Oh my god, that can't be new information to you, Yuma. That, like, oh, you're the worst detective.
The blank week mystery triggered it?
I hate it here so much. There's, like, I need you to understand that as someone who, like, has aspired to be a screenwriter, I'm so willing to suspend my disbelief. And this game is just so desperate for me to just, like, refuse to do it. It just keeps wanting to suggest stuff that's so stupid that I can't do it.
This is so mysteriful.
That's all I know.
I see. Thank you.
Even I don't know what's going on here.
I mean, you haven't particularly been a font of knowledge about anything.
But all that info sure seems useful. She should have told us about that sooner.
Probably, but, like, again, you could copy that.
He's talking way too long and none of it sounds true at all.
You could copy that last comment onto your clipboard and just paste that every 15 minutes, and I'd probably agree with that, too. Anime says, Yuma does not pay attention at all, and I think this was told to him multiple times at this point. I think it's at least been, like, almost outright told to him once, and, like, very heavily implied at least one other time. So for him to act like this is completely new information is, like, irritating to me.
You can't blame her. It's taboo, remember?
Oh my god.
By the way, Yuma,
She's an informer,
did you
you
search the whole
idiot.
factory? What was the truth that voice was talking about?
I still don't know.
I frankly don't even remember whatever specific line of dialogue you're asking about.
But I haven't checked everything. I don't know what's behind that door.
We've already come this far. We might as well check everything.
Wait! Don't go alone! It's too
It's a-
dangerous!
It's a weirdly cheerful line delivery. Oh, is that another corpse of your friend? Well, I guess there's a room we haven't explored!
She sure loves to act before she thinks.
She doesn't even have the access card, right? Oh, hang on. Conai Ward's unending reign started after the blank week mystery. Oh, just shoot me, game. Come on. 3 years ago, a blood test was conducted on all Conai Ward residents. God, I honest to God am starting to dread this last mystery labyrinth. Like, I just really feel like it's going to be unfun more than anything.
What's wrong?
Well, I think I heard some strange noises inside.
I might get wet down there.
I also hear something. Kurumi, it might be dangerous up ahead. I'll go first.
Huh? But...
Leave this
Where do you
to the
wanna go?
detective. I'll be right back once I've confirmed it's safe. Then we can check it out together.
Leave this to the worst detective you've ever heard of. But you have heard of me.
Please don't disappear on me again. You had me worried back there.
Okay. But... please be careful.
We're gonna turn our back and then turn back around and she'll be a pile of bones in a raincoat. And then we look away and look back and she's on a horse. I was really hoping it was going to be the Carousel of Progress in here. It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, shining at the end of the Blank Week mystery. What am I... Oh, cool. Corpse processing. Neat, 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 neat. Oh, right. The game still hasn't acknowledged that Soylent Green is people. We've been here for like hours, but they're gonna act like this is new information.
Hey, is that... a corpse? A human corpse?
I mean, it could be a homunculus. Homunculus.
It's on the conveyor belt!
Then, those meat buns... No way. You're kidding! This is horrible. Why make such a thing?
Here's another blurb for the back of the box demolition. I know you've suggested a couple now. This one should go on there.
Master, there's something else over there. We should check everything first.
So, we had some discussion last week about whether Yuma is himself a homunculus or the human from which DNA was extracted to make a homunculus. I'm inclined to think, and I could definitely be wrong, but my prevailing theory is that he is homunculus just because the game encourages you to eat a meat bun, and I don't feel like this game actually wants like a nuanced examination of like, oh man, my character ate a human meat bun. Is that okay? Like, I think they're gonna want to ultimately be like, it's fine. You're a homunculus anyway. Did he finally put two and two together about what this factory is? No, anime. Once again, the circumstances directly told him that 2 and 2 equal 4. Yuma did absolutely no work and didn't even meet the concept halfway. Which, again, is a very frustrating thing about this game that pretends to be about detectives, but absolutely isn't.
About what's up ahead.
In this room, do we see the corpses get made out of Play-Doh? And so it's okay after all? We just keep going back and forth?
They're all real corpses?
Just like my favorite Nickelodeon show from the 90s. Ah, real corpses.
What is this?
This is a fridge, isn't it? I don't know, but it looks kind of cold.
You have a sense of smell, but you can't tell that this room covered in ice is cold?
So many refrigerated bodies. Whoever did this must be a total psycho.
It's literally all the dead people from town. We've already been told that there's a corpse processing plant in the restricted zone, and we talked about it last week. Is there a memory fragment or something funny in here? No, just corpses?
What's
Fine.
going on here? These aren't fake. They're real human corpses.
And for some reason, they're making me hungry.
Master, look! There's something in its pocket!
It's covered in a sheet. How can you tell what's in its pocket? What are you talking about?
It looks like a note, but the handwriting's hard to read.
I don't understand at all.
Maybe someone was rushing to write this before they died.
Sunfish pocket. could be the prison pocket. Do we actually know that they're naked? I mean, it would make sense because they're being fed into the meat machine. There's like a whole plethora of problems here, which you could also put on as a blurb on the back of the box. Make sure to write these down. We'll send all the ideas to Spike Chunsoft or whoever. Where am I? Where am I being taken to? Everyone here is a dangerous criminal that deserves the death sentence. That ruthless killer, that vile kidnapper. Everyone's crying as they pray to God. Will we be serving our sentences together, with no trial? Crap, if only we'd never been caught by the WDO. They locked us up in here like animals. We were brought here by the WDO's #1. He's called the world's greatest mind, isn't he? Okay. So then that suggests that if we're literally calling #1 the world's greatest mind, that Makoto is a clone of #1 and probably then also responsible for the terrorist attack that blew up the WDO tower at the start of this thing. Yeah, exposition note, which proved to be a dramatically less popular sequel to Death Note. Okay, so you just got a shiny Ekans? I'm sorry. I mean, Ekans! That's very exciting. Congrats. But yeah, this also weirdly implies that the WDO has been, like, fueling Kanai Ward by, like, cutting down on prison costs by turning criminals into meat buns, which isn't as hard for me to imagine as I'd like because I live in the United States in the 21st century. But also, if that's true, why, like, this makes it make even less sense that the World Detective Organization would send any number of detectives to Kanai Ward to investigate something that, like, would, in theory, naturally lead to this discovery. Why would the top detective do this? What is he thinking? How can this be allowed? What will happen to
The
us?
note cuts off here.
The note cuts off here? Eat me. Eat me like so many meat buns.
What? The WDO did this?
That's gotta be bogus, right?
Nah, they don't seem super chill or on the level or anything.
I want to believe that too.
But, like, this game didn't set up any of the stakes for these betrayals to matter. We know almost nothing about the WDO other than people being like, I don't know, in theory they're good guys. That's, like, essentially all we know about them. We have no reason to trust them. We don't have, like, fond memories of working for them or training with them or, like, buying into their ideology. Nor do we even get that from other characters in the game who still have remembered their lived experiences and, like, would potentially know these things even if our main character has amnesia. The game gives us such, like, scarce information about this thing, and then they're like, wait, the organization, like, the shadowy organization we've told you almost nothing about was bad? What a betrayal! And then, like, there's a fart sound effect and a slide whistle, and someone, like, slips on a banana peel with that whoop, 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 whoop sound effect. Like, it's just clown time here!
But why would someone write down a lie in their final moments?
They did. Everything sucks, my guy. Write that down. That's a box blurb, too. Hi, Katay, and welcome to the stream. Okay, it says, eat me like one of your French girls. I think that means something else. I think that's a different thing. Anime says, I don't think the WDO knew about this. I think all they were told was handle your prison problem. I have to assume that at least number one knew about this, partially because he's in charge of the organization, and partially because he met an untimely end, most likely because of his choice to do this.
If what's written here is true, then I don't know what to believe anymore.
Anime says, why do I think all the world building was done in the optional scenes we get from finding stuff in town? Because you are outrageously optimistic, would be my guess. I think there's almost no chance that's true. We watched, like, almost half of those scenes, and they were mostly like, Hyuk Hyuk, Halara likes cats a lot. Like, they weren't, like, elaborate, rich backstories for characters. Like, Yakko asks if he's, like, a good boss, even though he doesn't know how to lead anyone. And you can, like, be nice to him or be mean to him. Like, that's what the backstory scenes are like. It's not like the Destiny Codex or whatever from the game Destiny where you'd, like, find something in the world and it'd be like, ooh, you unlocked, like, a Codex card or whatever. And now you could go to some, like, arcane website that no one's ever heard of to read some flavor text that we could have put in the game.
Well, if these guys are all dangerous criminals, they didn't deserve to live anyway, right?
Cool. I mean, at the very least, this is a difference of opinion that we've established between Shinigami and Yuma, but, like, I don't care.
It's not something you should worry about, Master.
Just because they're dangerous criminals doesn't mean they should be slaughtered like this.
How would you prefer to slaughter them?
It's not right. And
But it's
why
okay.
turn them into meat buns?
You already know the answer. Oh my god! Listen, man. I get that Yuma has amnesia, so he doesn't remember how to be whatever caliber of detective he was before he made the deal with Shinigami to gain Death God powers and access the Mystery Labyrinth. But, like, you don't have the reasoning of, like, a high school student? We already know that, like, the homunculi become, like, monstrous cannibals if you don't feed them human flesh. So how do you get around that, my guy? You make human flesh as food. Like, how dumb are you?
Calm down, Master. It's better not to think about it.
Shut up!
I'll make it a solution key for now.
That's very unintentionally funny.
We are finally catching a glimpse of the truth. But it's not over yet.
Keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle.
The mystery you need to solve awaits outside the factory. You want to expose all truths, don't you? Then press on, detective. Hurry, before you can't trust anything anymore.
I don't know what that means.
Keep trusting in yourself.
I also don't think I know what that means.
Come on, solve the mystery.
Memo found in the pocket of a corpse in the factory refrigerator. It appears to be a criminal captured by the World Detective Organization. I'm glad that that description doesn't tell you anything about the contents of the note, the important thing that you would need to know. Please give me an Ace Ventura style, do not go in there. Woo!
Yuma! What's wrong? What was in there?
It says, I think there's a law against exposing all truths. Well, there are certainly laws against exposing some truths, that's for sure.
No, there's nothing. Nothing at all.
There's no mysteries in there, I promise.
Huh? Oh. Too bad.
Arcadius asks, wait, why do they need to make human meatballs? I'm going to assume that's an earnest question, Arcadius, because you weren't here for the parts of primarily last week's stream that went over it. But, like, when we came into this area we're in now, like, someone, like, shot an arrow note at us that was, like, homunculi, like, become angry zombies if you don't feed them human flesh. And then we came to this factory that was making meat buns next to the corpse processing facility. And Yuma here wasn't able to put 2 and 2 together until the game just, like, showed it to him. Because he's such a good detective.
What is it? You look pale.
Kessel says because they ran out of beef. Well, listen, we know that as early as the 80s, they were having trouble finding beef, right? There was that super famous Wendy's commercial that everyone in chat definitely knows and remembers.
No, I'm fine.
Thought you were just making a joke about how they explained it and he immediately asked why. Yeah, but like, that's just the game. So I apologize for not registering the joke.
It's best if Kurumi doesn't learn about the meat buns yet. She's been eating those things for so long.
Are you insane? I was eating those buns! The motion says, to be fair, human corpses would be a step up from some fast food meat. You love processed pink... I'm sorry? Hey, everyone, can I direct your attention to the door we just came through? 'Cause I'm not sure if I've been playing this game too long, or if something has gone wrong and the task was failed successfully. Okay, you're seeing that too? Great, that's perfect. Now, I believe the door does say lock, but I agree with you that it does look as though it says look in all capital letters, which is even funnier when you factor in that if you look at the look sign, you see our homunculus girlfriend half phased into a wall. Yeah, this seems fine. Yeah, like that's really the thing that's starting to really grate at me in this case, anime. Like, I know that, like, early on it kind of makes sense for Yuma to seem, like, not confident about being a detective or making deductions on his own or whatever. And, like, yeah, they want the player to do that work in the Mystery Labyrinth too. But, like, we're at a point where, like, some of the stuff just feels like it's really basic deduction. Like I said before, like, I feel like someone who's, like, high school age would be able to put this stuff together more quickly than someone who's, like, supposedly a functioning detective. Anyway, where does it want me to go? Man, that radar is throwing me off to the very end. I figured I had to go out here, but I thought it was pointing me the other direction. Okay, I'm gonna see you later, Kurumi Wendy.
The truth is waiting ahead. Are you ready, Kurumi?
I don't think Kurumi Wendy can handle the truth.
Yes, of course.
Emotions must be discarded to reach a perfect solution through a perfect deduction.
It would be really funny to me if, like, she was now phased into the floor just out of spite or something.
Never mind.
We can get out this way.
Why do I feel like we're walking towards the end of Life is Strange? Am I watching out for lightning? I don't have control over that.
If you slipped on a slope like this.
Man, this section of the game really is like Final Fantasy hallway or whatever. Like, what is the purpose of
Hear
this?
that? Too? What is it?
I was actually starting to think I wouldn't find more of these things. Wow, I think I found a memory shard for, like, literally every character other than Fubuki here in this factory, and that makes me upset, because that's maybe the only character who I care about. If you all enjoyed walking in a straight line for a minute. Oh, hang on. Is that Fubuki's over there? I see a little blue glowy. Kind of makes me feel like we're about to go into the mystery labyrinth, that they just like ran out of places to put these memory shards. So whatever that factory is making, it produces this perpetual rain cloud as a byproduct.
A massive chimney. This looks like the public bath for the village.
That's alarming for various reasons. But like, boy, was that rendered in such a weird way. It kind of just looked like the cloud were like a weird solid object, huh? Because it says, so he's saving Chloe or the town of 1,000 people? I mean, that was always a rough call to me, but like for like almost the complete opposite of the reason that it was supposed to, where it's like, well, it's like the opposite of utilitarianism. I hate everything in this game so much. I want to kill the most number of people, but I also feel like Chloe deserves to suffer the most. Public bath turned into a public shower. That's true. Watch out for dead whales. Yeah, what I really gotta watch out for is that, like, really short time loop that made me so furious that one time. That was, like, the least chill I've been in my life. At least, like, a top 5 bad moment for Vasco. Hold on, let me go pick up... Nope, that is for Yakko. Now I've literally picked... Okay, hold on.
Things are looking bad at this rate.
Yeah.
On second thought, let's not go where the zombies are waiting to eat us. Alright, that's fair game. Would you at least do me the bare minimum courtesy of giving me a cutscene from my beloved Fubuki? Acadia says, my worst times in video games came from Elden Ring and Dark Souls 2. Do you remember specific moments in those games, or just the level of difficulty made you kind of intense?
Whoa! What's that?
Yeah, that's fine. This one's definitely fine.
What is that machine? It seems to be connected to the chimney outside.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much necessarily would have to be. I can't imagine that, like, the building that's creating constant pollution with, like, an insane sci-fi machine inside would be, like, a coincidence.
Whatever it is, it's a bit excessive.
Okay, that's really weird. There's a extremely loud noise coming from next door, an apartment that isn't currently rented and has construction completed on it. So I don't know what weird thing's going on over there. That makes me a little uncomfortable.
Could this be part of the truth he mentioned?
It's time for that truth I mentioned earlier. I don't think anyone in this world will ever be able to appreciate that episode of Beyblade as much as I do. There's like an episode where, like, basically someone tries to make, like, evil twin Beyblades of the good guys. Or something close to that. They, like, artificially manufacture, like, evil Beyblades. And then they, like, take them to this weird science facility and challenge them to a series of battles. And, like, in one of them, the good guy's, like, totally beating the crap out of, like, the villain version of himself. And, like, at least in the dub, there's this fantastic exchange where, like, one of the side villains is sort of like, oh no, he's losing. And then, like, one of the evil scientists says, like, ah, but that's why we cheat. And then the battle goes on for a little while longer where the bad guy is losing. And then the same two characters are basically like, oh no, he's about to lose. Well, it's time for that cheating I mentioned earlier. And then he, like, presses a button, and then he, like, turns on some giant fan that, like, evens the fight in, like, the dumbest possible way. And that's, like, always been one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And he says, you know, I think it's been explained several times that the rain is artificially created and you just found the source. Yeah, but we're all now victim of constantly giving Yuma too much credit. Meanwhile, the more time he exists in this world, the dumber he gets.
Master, there's a switch. What do you want to do?
Oh, it's the trolley problem. Does my action cause more evil than the inaction of not stopping the pollution factory? Is there a memory shard for Fubuki in here? Looks like a battery powering a nearby device. But it's not connected to the thing that I care about, I guess.
Whoa! What?
I want my Fubuki memory. Hold on. Collapsed public bath? From this angle, it looks like the remains of an old bathhouse. Seems like it hasn't been used for a long time.
This giant bath has helped rejuvenate a lot of stressed out people.
Now there's just a machine being used for who knows what. Nothing lasts forever.
That's such an unhinged observation in this room. How do you come into this room and you're like, you know what? I bet this used to be a really relaxing place. Chugga 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 doom.
It stopped.
Huh?
No, I think the nuclear reactor in Fred's basement is gonna explode. I genuinely think the more we play this game, the dumber Yuma is getting. I really, truly believe that. I don't know if there's a canonical explanation.
All residents, please seek shelter inside. I repeat, a state of emergency has been declared.
Oh shoot, our submarine's still alive.
Please seek shelter inside.
Why is there, like, sound presence for this announcement? Or is that my headphones malfunctioning more? I'm not sure why Makoto gave me access to this button if he cares about the homunculi of the city and doesn't want them to be, like, burned to death because of their sensitive skin or whatever. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Like, I don't actually know if we've been given quite enough information to know for sure why this would create a state of emergency. Like, we don't really know specifically why they made it rain for these 3 years.
The sky's clearing up. So the stuff coming out of the chimney was rain clouds?
None of us are concerned about the, like, supervillain weather doomsday machine.
Huh? This machine's a device that creates rain clouds?
The machine creates artificial clouds to make it rain all over Kanai Ward.
By the way, am I alone in this, or is that sphere, like, immediately next to Shinigami look like it's just, like, an actual globe of the world? As if this thing was, like, actually assembled by, like, random bits and bobs by some prop department for, like, a movie or something.
To think, even the rain has been artificial this whole time.
How could it possibly not be artificial? Are you insane? It has rained literally non-stop in a localized area for 3 years. There has to be an explanation for that. That's not how weather works.
There is no truth in this city. Everything is a lie.
This is the hill you die on? If you can't even trust the completely unnatural rain to be true and honest, then what can you rely on? God.
What is this?
Angry indoor zombie? So the somehow being damp placates the zombies? You know what button I'm
I
pressing.
might get wet down there.
What's going on? What's happening? Kurumi?
But she wasn't even outside. Why would she suddenly be... Okay.
What's wrong?
We meet at last.
Makoto Kagutsuchi!
We should turn
Ooh,
off
look at
the
that in
alarm
emotion.
before we celebrate our reunion. Aren't you worried about Kurumi's body? Here.
She's on a door like the end of Titanic for no reason. Yeah, I don't know what he meant by at last we meet. Like, we've clearly met in person multiple times. I don't know what that means. It's not even like he took off his mask and it's like we finally, like, really meet or whatever. This seems like a really crappy way to make your point if you don't want to ruin the city you created for yourself. Yeah, I don't know why that wasn't a trap. That was very suspicious. Return to the smog now. I mean, this is along the lines of what I had theorized last week. We still just haven't gotten a satisfying explanation, which of course we won't do. Honestly, the further we get in this investigation, I'm, like, getting this genuine sense of dread. I think it says a lot about this game and the quality of its gameplay that the more I consider having to do, like, a final mystery labyrinth, like, essentially the gameplay of this game, like, I'm genuinely kind of upset about it. Like, I just know I'm gonna have a bad time.
The rain is back.
It seems like things have settled down. What was that?
Guess this is a lot like Seattle. As soon as it stops raining, everything goes haywire, especially on the roads. Oh, that's funny. In LA, it's the exact opposite. Dude says, just say that's how I feel in the summer when it gets hot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, me too. He says, why can't the mysteries be Riddler-style questions you can Google? That's a great question.
Is it because I stopped the device?
Oh my god. It's so annoying listening to him. This isn't a rhetorical question. Like, how stupid do the developers think the average player of this game is?
Master, be careful.
Congratulations, Yuma. You finally arrived at the truth of this city.
After you basically force-fed me each individual piece of information.
Congratulations?
Can we get that montage from Evangelion where everyone just, like, applauds and says congratulations in rapid succession, just like every character from the show?
Enough! I've had enough of your games!
His ability to connect the dots and cause an effect is just awful. Yeah? Thank you for the congratulatory confetti cannon. Thank you.
Games? I've been taking this seriously the entire time. Especially when it comes to Kanai Ward.
Because I love it so much.
What is your goal? Why are you doing this?
You still don't know? I want you to understand the truth about this place.
The truth? You mean this big device?
This is but a small portion of the truth.
I like how we're not even... I get the impression we're, like, not even a little bit going to explain how we came to invent a perpetual rain machine, which for various reasons could have, like, profound scientific implications. This game has an 8.4 user score on Metacritic. Oh, that's sad. That's disappointing. Hey, Ditto. Look up the Somnium Files games. Just for comparison's sake.
Of course, I'm the one who created this contraption. Although it's a rather makeshift design. Using the old bathhouse's chimney was brilliant, The melding of my genius ideas and the world's best technology.
I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure why a bathhouse would need, like, 3 industrial-sized chimneys, smokestack things. I'm not doubting that that's true. That's just, like, a Japanese thing. I don't know, but it seems weird.
Why did you even make it?
I don't owe you any explanations. But you've made it this far, so you deserve something.
He's gonna, like, pull a gun on us so we go into the mystery labyrinth or something. But why would he want that? Wouldn't he be responsible for this mystery and thus, like, get reaped? Okay, so Ditto says, this game has an 8.4 on Metacritic. Somnium Files 1 has an 8.8. And Somnium Files 2 has an 8.7? Even, like, pretty dedicated fans of Somnium Files 2 seem to think it's, like, decently worse than the first one. That's really confusing. 8.7 seems way too high. Like, honestly, like, 8.8 is, like, pretty close to fair. I think I'd personally give the first Somnium Files lower. But, like, I can legitimately see how you get an 8.8 out of that. But, like, Somnium Files 2 is, like, a lot worse. Like, considerably worse. I mean, like, the gameplay mechanics are improved a little bit, but the story is just dreadful.
As you know, Amaterasu's experiment resulted in defective homunculi.
Sad mask.
Do you know the fatal flaw within all defective homunculi?
They eat people?
One is an extreme decrease in intelligence when they're resurrected. In other words, they turn into zombies.
Now, like, is that cumulative? If they die again, presumably they remain alive. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a zombie brain?
They may be immortal, but upon returning from death, they become monsters that seek human flesh.
Yeah, I have to say that especially when you put a fine point on it, that seems like a really disastrously, colossally huge downside. There's not, like, a whole lot of upside. They're like, you'll live forever. But if you die even once, then you will just be a zombie that can't be killed.
The other flaw is sunlight.
Now, sunlight's the weakness that we, like, didn't get from that CD-ROM. What an unhelpful clue that becomes when the only useful information from the clue is also the only thing that's redacted from the clue.
Sunlight?
When defective homunculi encounter sunlight, they become extremely stressed and lose control.
Well, I gotta say, you guys definitely deserve to lose the Clone Wars, as it were. Like, you did a really horrible job of making homunculi. Like, without intentionally trying to do worse, it would be pretty hard to do worse than, yes, technically they're immortal, but their weakness is the day moon, and also they must eat human flesh.
They'll return to normal if you block out the sun. But while they're berserk, they
Those
lose all
homunculi are
reason
just
and
gamers.
memories.
I resent and resemble that thoroughly. It's well documented that I have the behavioral mannerisms of a vampire.
Reason and memories?
To be exact, it's an allergic reaction to ultraviolet rays. If left in this state, they eventually die. But things will continue to spiral out of control. Once they die, they turn into zombies. In other words, sunlight is the greatest enemy of the defective homunculi.
It still feels like there's some sort of, like, logical issue here. So you're like, they have such a strong allergic reaction to the ultraviolet rays of the sun that it kills them. But because they're homunculi, they don't die. So, like, it doesn't really kill them because they don't die. It just sort of changes their behavior. And I guess I guess the allergic reaction is effectively that their max potential mental capacity is forever diminished to zombie level. But, like, I don't feel like that's necessarily a fair way to categorize that is an allergic reaction, because if it remains alive and it doesn't continue to have the reaction, it just feels like that's something else. Thought they were zombies already. Like, we've done, as is tradition in this game, we've done a bad job of consistently explaining our own lore that we made up from scratch, bespoke for the story that we're telling. So, like, I think the way we're meant to understand this is that a Kanai word homunculus starts as effectively an identical adult-aged clone of a human being from which DNA was extracted from the purpose of homunculi/cloning. When that regular-ish human dies, then they lose a ton of their memories and mental faculties and become permanent zombie. But I do also think it's at least been heavily implied, if not outright stated, that even a functional humanoid homunculus would devolve into a zombie-like behavioral pattern if starved of human flesh. That's the best explanation I think I can currently give you. It's like a really nuanced distinction that kind of doesn't matter, but technically is different. These are just the bad versions of the real Kanai ward homunculus. Well, my understanding is that Kanai ward homunculi are all the bad version of homunculi. And somewhere there is one functional, regular, non-defected homunculus, which is probably Makoto Kagutsuchi. And I don't think he necessarily has any of those weaknesses, whereas the Kanai ward ones that are like the whole populace of the town they're all defective homunculi. But even the defective homunculi under controlled circumstances are functionally identical to humans is the key distinction. Yeah, so yeah, we're in the restricted zone, which is basically zombie town. Like, the function of this place is that all the dead get sent here. And all the dead humans from outside Kanai Ward go into the meat bun machine to feed the inhabitants of the town human flesh so that they can remain functional humanoid zombies. Whereas the dead homunculi from town, like people who die under circumstances where, like, unnatural circumstances in the town, are shipped off to the restricted areas so people don't see that dead people just get back up. Because that sort of disrupts one's illusion that they live in a human society, is when you kill someone and they get up and they're like, ow. Like, that's not a normal thing that should happen. So the reason why we've been surrounded by full-on zombie homunculi is because these ones have been killed and thus have been triggered the permanent zombie state, whereas a similar state could be triggered if the food supply was cut off to the town, or something similar if the rain machine were turned off. That's about as much sense as I can make of it. I'm not even sure if that's entirely true, but that's, from all the stuff that we've been forcibly told, that's my best understanding. Ah, he came back to life. Exactly, Sarah. See, they were so upset by it. When defective homunculi encounter sunlight, they become extremely stressed and lose control. I feel like extremely stressed is not a good description of that event that happens.
So you were blocking out the sun for them.
I don't like the way you said them. What do you mean, you people?
And to do that, you created a cage of rain over the entire city?
I would prefer a cage of rain to the, like, Doflamingo string cage that he made in Dressrosa in One Piece. Every time I think about that, it makes me really unhappy.
When the clouds grow thick enough to block the sun, rain starts to fall. It's a natural phenomenon. To keep them stable requires clouds thick enough to cause rainfall. I can form rain clouds all across Kanai Ward from here. The altitude and wind conditions make it ideal.
Boy, does that feel convenient.
The result, of course, is that Kanai Ward became a city of unending rain.
Why build such a major contraption just for some defects?
Boy, Yuma is just the absolute worst detective.
Defects, Who are you to say something like that?
Oh, good. Finally, we'll get down to it, maybe. It says, A Cage of Rain is my emo alt-rock Nicolas Cage tribute band. That's so many words, and they're all so good. Anyway, it says, the failed ones die in the sun and lose intelligence if they die. They lose the intelligence. If they die, they lose the intelligence, and if they're not fed human flesh, they become zombies. I don't know. I think both states, at least potentially, can lead to flesh-eating zombie. It may be that they need to be starved to actually seek out human flesh to eat, but I think, like, my interpretation is that because we've gone to the trouble of making a human corpse processing facility that makes a commercial food product that's sold within the Illusion town, that it must be necessary for the defective homunculi to eat human flesh even under controlled circumstances. Like, I don't think you have to be killed style zombie to need to eat human flesh. Because there's like a whole subset of plot contrivances that wouldn't be necessary if that was true.
What do you mean?
You've lost so much on your long journey here. But now, well, look at your hands. What do you have left?
You're right. Maybe I am empty. But I've been able to face many truths by relying on the strength of my friends.
Who've all presumptively been eaten or rendered unconscious by the sun.
I didn't make it this far on my own. It was thanks to those who helped me.
This is not a compelling argument or speech under the circumstances that you've been led to believe that everyone you know is dead, other than Karumi Wendy.
Especially yours truly.
So, even though I'm empty, I have everyone with me. That's why I was able to corner you.
I beg your absolute pardon. You believe that you've done what now? This man told you. Like, this is the equivalent of, like, a James Bond villain telling Bond his whole plan, like, evilly monologuing in stereotypical fashion, and then Bond going like, I figured out your whole plan, and now you're trapped, while, like, still attached to, like, a death ray or something? Like, what are you talking about?
Corner me? An interesting way to put it. But if you want to corner someone, this is how you do it.
See, I told you he was gonna pull a gun on him. We need some justification to go into the mystery labyrinth, the thing I really don't want to do.
Ain't no fair! He never said he had a gun!
One pull of the trigger and you're dead. Looks like I've got you cornered, Yuma.
So, an earlier line of dialogue makes it clear that he knows about
There's a spark in
Shinigami
your
Death
eyes,
God powers.
like you still have an ace up your sleeve.
So he must deliberately want us to go into the mystery labyrinth.
Okay, fine. Play your card. Let's finish this.
My grandfather's deck has no pathetic cards, Makoto
Use the power
Kagutsuchi.
of the Book of Death.
He knows about that?
You already know he knows about that! Oh my god, I can't stand this character anymore.
I hate to use him now that he's spoiled the whole thing, but let's do it. And honestly, you'll be killed if I don't, Master.
Thank you.
The target mystery is the collection of corpses found in the factory refrigerator.
Sure,
Considering
we could call that the
scale of all
mystery.
of this, even I have no idea what
I'm
the
pretty
mystery
sure it's gonna
labyrinth
look
will
like the same introductory sequence we've seen every single time, with some
What's
slight
wrong?
differences in the hallways we run through.
Hurry up.
Call me cynical.
The mystery you want to solve is right here. Come on. Solve Kanai Ward's ultimate secret. Expose all of my crimes. It's kill or be killed.
It's an interesting theory, Sarah. That he knows about this and has tried to corner us because He is a homunculus, and this is the only way he can
One
die.
wrong move, and you'll be forever trapped in the mystery labyrinth.
But he claims to care about the people in this
That
town.
happens. You've saved me so many times already.
If he dies, there won't be anyone to look over this place. And to make sure that they stay alive or whatever.
Right. Let's do it, Shinigami.
What are we
This
doing?
may be the final mystery labyrinth.
Oh, I sure hope to God that it is. God, I really gotta find a better headphone solution. This stuff is driving me insane. I always forget about this part of this process. And yet, it's one of the very best parts. Think he wants them to rest in peace? I'm not sure that, like, turning off the smoke machine or whatever is gonna be a pleasant death. What if they somehow stretch this into 2 dungeons? I haven't saved today. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, I mean, like, pretty good comedic timing, I'll give you that. But it's, like, not good. Uh-huh. I mean, there's, like, 0 chance that continue does what I want it to do. Right? No, this game does have autosave. The game does have autosave. Where will that take us? I don't know. We've, like, never really had to use it. I've always manually loaded the save. It shouldn't have erased all our progress, but we might have to, like, watch that stupid James Bond scene again. I think. Mysteriful indeed. Now, the question is, like, is that just, like, a broken point in the game or something? Like, why did that happen? Hey, it's exactly as I predicted. Now, can I...
The rain is back.
I don't think...
Like they
I think the fastest thing I can do is mash A. I don't think there's, like, a skip for this.
Yuma.
Couldn't crack enough
Games.
Cool.
Especially-
What is
You still don't.
the truth?
This.
Well,
of
hey,
course,
this
using
could
the-
have been a lot worse.
I
If the
don't
game
owe you
didn't have
messing up.
autosave, then we would have to do the whole
They
stream
may be
again.
The other son, when defect, they'll return to.
reason.
To be exact, but things, in other words,
So you and to
when the clouds to keep them, I can form rate the result.
why?
Defect.
What do you?
You've lost, but now.
Never ended. It's programmed to never end.
Special.
I mean, it certainly feels that way.
So that's why.
Corner me?
What do you think is a better
This is
thumbnail?
how-
Harumi Wendy glitch or, like, crash screen? Oh, hang on. I might be able to skip this one. No, you can't
One
skip anything
pull
in
of
this
the trigger
game. Get
and you're
wrecked.
dead.
Now everything... Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. What was that? Hold R. Speeds it up and removes the voice acting. And by speeds it up, I mean barely speeds it up at all. Boy, it sure isn't really any much faster at all, huh?
What's wrong? Hurry up. The mystery you want to solve is right here.
Hey, Justin, thanks for the Prime resub, much appreciated.
Ultimate secret. Expose all of my crimes.
Here's a clip that even the game didn't want to continue. Very good, thank you, anime.
It's kill or be killed.
Dude, it says, quoting me, mashing the button through that dialogue. The result, white
There's no
defect,
time to
really
hesitate.
succinctly summarizes that whole scene. Actually, it does, weirdly.
Sure? One wrong move, and you'll be forever trapped in the mystery labyrinth.
God, why does this take
And I
forever?
won't blame you if that happens. You've saved me so many times already.
That's barely true at best. Barely.
All right, here goes.
Right, let's do it, Shinigami. This may be the final mystery labyrinth.
It's weird for him to say that out loud.
Arise, mystery labyrinth.
Arise, super ultra chicken. Chicken arise. Bright side, we have to watch this again. It is going to be really funny if we get to the end of this scene and it crashes again. And by funny, I mean I'm genuinely not sure what to do at that point. And okay.
Okay then.
Wait, if this is our last one, can we do it normally? You know, together.
Sure. I
Oh
don't
wow,
know.
what a completely unearned garbage revelation. That'd be a nice moment if we did like literally anything to set that up. You goons. This is I've been waiting.
We go.
Been waiting about an hour to use but all that info sure seems useful. Should have told us about that sooner, but the exposition hasn't warranted it. Yeah, the exposition has mostly been coming from Makoto at this point. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he is not stopped by the Mystery Labyrinth. That should be a cool moment, but we've spent so long getting here that I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Same current progress. Yeah, it's probably a good idea considering, huh? Alright, I don't know. What, when... The bottom one, I guess. Sure. Great. So happy for me! Due to the polluted waters, fish are rarely caught. Being a rock, I am without movement. Oh wow, look at that. The Mystery Labyrinth looks exactly the same as every other time we've entered it. Who could have predicted this? Surely only some sort of clairvoyant savant. A true psychic.
Ow!
How did we still end up like this?
Why did you let go halfway through?
It's for good luck. We can't just start breaking tradition, you know.
I've gotten used to this view.
I hope you mean the Mystery Labyrinth.
In the beginning, you were so terrified of the mystery labyrinth.
I feel like that would definitely be a thing, like, not to say to your significant other. But, like, it's also one of those things that if you had the right significant other, they'd be like, aw, instead of like, what do you mean you've gotten used to this view?
Maybe that means I've grown as a detective.
No, if there's one thing I'm certain of in this moment, Yuma, it's that you have not grown as a detective. It says, God forbid I have a crumb of growth. Yep. Yeah. Whoever, like, created the concept of Shinigami just, like, absolutely hates character growth.
It means I've been a phenomenal mentor.
Also false.
But this mystery labyrinth seems different from the previous ones.
You can tell because it's functionally identical in every way. Hey, letters! Welcome to the stream. How's it going? You're just in time for what could be the final mystery labyrinth. And almost certainly is.
I figured. We'll finally uncover Kanai Ward's ultimate secret, just up ahead.
The quest to uncover Kanai Ward's ultimate secret has proven to be so profoundly stupid that the game literally crashed rather than load this the first time we tried.
No matter what the truth may be, I will expose it.
Self-preservation.
Whatever the mystery may be, I'll never turn my eyes away. Can I count on your support again, Shinigami?
Still relying on others after all this time.
Ultimate does imply final. True, much like incinerate implies burn. However, this game has been known to be misleading with its word choices. Time to dance, I think.
Master, are you
This is the
ready
dancing one, right?
to give
There
your
are
life for the
several magical girl
Yes.
sequences to
am.
going inside the labyrinth. Judo chop. Those were noticeable boob physics on that laugh. The character of Shinigami primarily exists, I think, as, like, a prototype for some incredibly powerful boob physics engine. There's not a lot of, like, character to that character, but there's a lot of jiggle if you're paying attention at all. You desperately need to see a dentist, by the way.
Here's the solution key we'll need.
I really shudder to think how long this is going to be. Yeah, that's about right. Demolition says there's 3 engines in this game. General graphics, cape flutter, and boobs. The cape really does, like, a needless amount of physics.
Oh, you've never thanked me for this before. I considered just handing it over normally, but I'm glad I kept it this way instead.
Yeah.
You can do it normally.
Ah, the actual worst.
Anyway, let's go. Let's unriddle this mystery labyrinth.
They know how to set priorities. I mean, listen. There's some good physics in this game, I'm not gonna lie. It's regrettably one of the true strengths of this game. I do wish we'd spent some additional amount of time and effort smoothing over those stories. And maybe even more than that, the characters, because yikes, forever. Now, they've said like 2 or 3 times already that this mystery labyrinth is gonna be different.
Thanks forever.
We'll see about that. No, it looks pretty much the same, for the record. Oh no, I'm sorry. There are some, like, maybe Chinese-style lanterns that... Oh, okay, now the town's here. That's a little different. I'll give you that.
Thanks forever.
I mean,
Sir? Ward.
don't really
The
know...
mystery this time seems to be deeply related to Kanai Ward itself. Just like you said, Master, if we keep going, we should be able to expose Kanai Ward's ultimate secret.
This place seems fit for the final mystery.
Oh, I wanted to go up the stairs.
Speaking of, why do you think this is the last mystery labyrinth?
No reason.
'Cause I looked at the
It just
script.
feels like that. I think I needed your powers in order to expose Kanai Ward's ultimate secret in the first place. I've got a feeling that when we solve this mystery, our pact will come to an end. Am I wrong?
Why would that be true?
You know I can't reveal anything about our pact.
So the pact was
Regardless,
specifically to
I'll
solve
train you
this
to be a
mystery?
Great detective. There'll come a day you won't need me anymore.
But there's still a ways to go before I can call myself a true detective.
Gonna get some
At the
pop-outs.
very least, I have to eradicate all unsolved mysteries from this world and bring
Have
happiness
to
to everyone.
absolutely nuke them from orbit. Obliterate the mysteries.
I think I've heard that before somewhere.
The language is so weirdly
Don't you
strong.
remember? You heard that from the person who left the strongest impression on you.
What's happening here?
Oh, right. You're just a copycat.
I'm copying nobody. I'm just echoing what they said. I guess you could say they influenced me. If that
Do
was
you,
said by a
do you like
detective
the Newton's
admire,
cradle
it
eyeballs?
seems like a good idea to aim for the same goal.
Cool, we found a door or whatever.
It's the mystery protecting Kanai Ward's ultimate secret.
Then we just need to solve it. Let's go, Shinigami!
What was the cause of Amaterasu and Kanai Ward's development? That's a weirdly phrased question. What's the cause? Amaterasu and Kanai Ward's development. I mean, I don't think literally we have been told. Like, am I meant to infer that the cause is Project Homunculus? Like, we very deliberately haven't said that that's the origin of this place. It's implied that it was set up before, and though I suspect it wasn't, I don't think we've really been told that. Listen, the points are made up and none of this matters. If I lose all my hit points, it's probably fine. Actually, one thing I should check. I don't think I have enough points to gain any more abilities, right? Actually, I do? In solution key selection sequences, remove an incorrect solution key. I think that's literally what I'm about to do. Sure. That's fine. I don't care. In Shinigami sequences, remove 2 solution keys. Fine, that doesn't seem like a detriment. Yeah. And... I'm short of getting this very last one. Well, I feel pretty good about this. I've unlocked all... Do I have this? No, I don't. All but 2, I guess. That might have been a good one to get. Listen, I don't care. None of this matters. Return. Use solution key. What was the cause of Amaterasu and Kanai Ward's development? I feel like it's supposed to be homunculus research, even though, again, I feel like we haven't... There's some information to imply that, but I don't think that's been made clear. It's not this blood test. That's like a effect, not a cause. This definitely isn't it. Weak mystery incident. Well, because part of this is that Kanai Ward moved forward by a week, it implies that Kanai Ward already existed. No, okay, apparently part of the Kanai Ward history is that it was just some dumpy rural town, which I didn't remember. Sure, that one. Plug it in!
The mystery of Kanai Ward began with the homunculus research.
It says, thinking of the voice actors, how tired do you think they were of saying the words Kanai Ward's ultimate secret? It varies by character, I'm sure, but, like, I definitely feel like that already meaningless phrase lost meaning. This is at least on par with how tired I am of hearing it. One would think.
Yeah, there's no mistake that's the root cause of what's going on in this city.
Cool, it's very normal in here.
What's the mystery of the homunculus research? Let's clear it up all at once, Master.
What's the origin of a weird sound I just heard? When did the unified government request the homunculus research? Didn't they want an army? I feel like one of our keys says something about this, but we have like 1 million of them, and I don't care. Homunculus. Information on Kanai Ward's past? No, not this. Homunculus test site. Project Homunculus? No. Not this. Installation of research? No. No. Maybe we didn't even get a solution key about this? No, hang on. Unified... it appears another research. Competing with on another... Alright, this doesn't specifically say, but I feel like something told us they wanted a zombie army. Because I remember we had a whole discussion about this and why it didn't make sense. Yeah, this one. The flexing cloud arm eyeball door. Squish.
The Yuji wanted to create an immortal army, and requested that Amaterasu conduct homunculus research.
Still not really clear as to why they would need an army if they're a unified world government, but okay.
It was for military purposes. So what exactly are homunculi?
Unkillable monsters.
They're artificially
They eat
made
human flesh.
beings. Human DNA is extracted to use as a base to grow human cells. The age, gender, and looks are synthetically copied onto an artificial human.
It's a weird way of putting that, but technically true.
What's the fun in copying people to begin with? That's something
I don't
I'll
know, some
never
people are hot, I
understand.
guess.
Humans are such weird creatures.
Oh, good.
Is that a mystery phantom?
But whose phantom is it?
Is it is it like a short Halara or something? Like, why would this be a surprise to us? I feel like it has to be one of our allies, right?
Huh? It's me? Why?
The mystery phantom is the materialization of someone who wants to conceal the truth. Master, you want to hide the truth?
Me? That's impossible!
Why would I have come in here?
Master, quick! Defeat Master right away!
Yeah.
It's one of my least favorite. It's the Reasoning Deathmatch. Of course, by that, I mean basically everything that happens in the Mystery Labyrinth I increasingly tire of. This was just to save on voice acting, I think.
Don't go any further! There's nothing up ahead! Let's give up and go home. What I'm looking for doesn't exist. Homunculi are just a fantasy.
That's like definitely not true.
That claim doesn't hold up!
That's like a really pathetic lie at this point in this case.
It's not a fantasy! Homunculi
Basically,
do exist!
It's basically like a weird, evil, like fact-obscuring version of us appeared and just says, "No!" And we're like, "Oh no!"
No, homunculi don't exist. I was wrong, completely wrong.
Okay, what do we have here? Homunculi who wander around the restricted area subsist on human flesh. Ibuki's investigation yielded a report about homunculus experiments and describes how Unified Government Research Organization first successfully created a homunculus 3 years prior. That feels like a good, strong contender. The device is located in the restricted area that artificially makes rain clouds. It's not that. It's probably that there was a research project to make them 3 years ago.
Homunculi don't exist. Have you even seen a homunculus?
I think I've seen like a whole lot of them.
They exist? It's true it was being researched.
Okay, I don't think I'm contradicting that.
Research was canceled.
Okay, jump too early. Okay, no.
Say,
That's right.
Yeah, it seems to imply I chose the right one and just got too trigger happy because you can never tell what the heck's going on in this game.
Homunculus? Do you have any proof they exist? It's true it was being researched. But that research was
It's
canceled.
really hard to jump over that. It's like basically impossible.
That research was a complete failure.
This one?
This is the truth.
Okay, great. Intuition says, they're a fantasy flashback to the entire plot. Which
No,
Cotillion
3
retorts,
years
don't
ago,
say that. It's a
Ryuji
Japanese game and they
successfully
might do it.
manufactured a homunculus.
Hey, does anyone remember that really good moment in Somnium Files 1 where a guy's like, do you remember that time that I told you about this backstory element? And then it flashes back to him just like saying that same thing to you, like basically verbatim the first time. Like, well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to show me that whole flashback, then by necessity, I definitely was there for that, huh?
The report Fubuki left me clearly said so.
Oh no. Oh, okay. That's okay. What a great argument. Thank you. Just
So
letting you know they didn't
that
make it up.
Really
Yes.
was me. Why would I be a mystery phantom?
There's no point thinking about these things if you have no clues. Let's keep going.
More good advice about detectiving from our mentor?
Anyway, the unified
Why did we
government
face the
must have
camera for
really
that?
wanted to make that homunculus. They tasked Amaterasu to make it, but set up their own research facilities as well.
I feel like that's the
Tried to
third
accelerate the research by having these two
description of
facilities
that
compete
that
with each
differs
other.
completely from the previous two.
The unified government was first to have their experiments succeed. But apparently, that was the only successful experiment.
Those are some terrible odds.
What I want to know is the
Are
identity
they?
of that homunculus they were able to create.
Nah,
According
you
to the
know 'em.
report Fubuki left behind,
They found success in one person's DNA. Someone believed to have the world's greatest mind.
the only successful specimen was from the world's greatest mind.
Sherlock Holmes in the year 3000? Or whatever that weird 90s cartoon was about?
He's back!
Like,
The world's
isn't there something
dumbest
called like The
mystery
Future
phantom.
Adventures of Sherlock Holmes? And like, he got frozen in like a glacier or some weird thing? I don't think he was in like a cryogenic tube because he was supposed to be like for real alive in his own time or something. Oh shoot, it was you, Cotillion? Well, hey, it would have been good to tell me about that like an hour ago.
He looks dumb?
Anyway, so the government made one, then asked a corporation to make another. They just keep changing the story on why there's two different groups making homunculi. At this point, I can't even be bothered to keep track of it, because they'll just, like, contradict it again in 5 minutes. Oh no, it's Agent Smith.
After him! Chase that clone with Master's dumb face!
This time you directly said I was dumb.
Neat. The end.
The clock tower, it's blocking the path.
Just solve the mystery like you always do! You got this!
Oh, okay. Who is the person with the world's greatest mind? Ooh, I know this one, because the game likes to repeat phrases. Memo on corpse. This said it. WTO's #1 is called the world's greatest mind. I can pay attention better than the main character of this game. Barely. Direct. Who could have predicted that he was inside the
True
building?
identity of the world's greatest mind was written on a memo left by the dead criminal in the refrigerator. It's the person known as #1 of the World Detective Organization.
He exploded.
Ran off again. What's going on? It's like he's trying to lead me somewhere.
Where have we seen that behavior before? In a masked person.
Shinigami?
Huh? It's nothing! Anyway, let's go after him!
Into the goo! Why did he run away? It's like he's trying to run away or something.
The only successful homunculus was based on the world's greatest mind.
Man, this is a lot of bad
Number
dolls.
one of the WDO. But if that's true, then there's something else bothering me about it.
The fact that he's your boss?
Hmm? What's up?
Nothing. I was just thinking about how we should keep our focus on Kanai Ward's mysteries. I mean, the completed homunculus disappeared, right? So
There's,
that
like,
doesn't have anything to
whole
do with what's going on
aquariums.
here.
You can't say for certain it's unrelated.
Well, number one was that old man, right? You never saw him anywhere in Kanai Ward.
That's true. I didn't see him in the city.
See? I told you that homunculus has nothing to do with this stuff. Besides, world's greatest mind. He got blown up with that building, right?
Well, the original
That's
did,
true,
but that's not
though
how
I feel like he
homunculi
went
work.
down too easily.
Who cares about that old geezer? Let's talk about Kanai Ward's ultimate secret.
Sure.
It seems like she's lying to us, which seems like a really bad thing to do if she doesn't want us trapped in here forever. Oh my god, it's a neon Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton. Very good. Curtain. Oh, good. We're reusing assets from all the previous cases, just in case you thought we had any budget left.
UG's research facility succeeded in their homunculus experiment.
I'm not actually clear on whether she could be here with us forever if we failed, because, like, the Mystery Labyrinth's, like, still kind of, like, collapsed or something? Well, no, I guess maybe the Labyrinth would stay intact if no one ever solved it, and we would just be, like, a sad forever ghost. We'd basically be like a homunculus who had been killed before.
The problem is Kanai Ward. What happened to the research being done here?
Blank Week. We don't talk about Blank Week. Or Bruno. I think he was one of the scientists
That's
on
the
Blank
mystery
Week.
we face.
What occurred at Kanai Ward in the name of scientific research? I mean, you could sort of make an argument for multiple of these, but I'm pretty sure Project Homunculus is the good fit, SAT style. Oh yeah, look, I can do that thing where I jiggle only half the text for some reason. That doesn't even read very well on the capture, but it's super stupid. This is taxing on the game, all three engines running at once. It's true, but they brought that on themselves, right? But yeah, Project Homunculus. It happened here because science.
Jason!
I don't like the way that question is phrased, because, like, what happened in the name of science implies, like, an effect and not a cause. Project Homunculus is a cause of several effects. But I think this is right. Okay, knock down all the furniture. Scraw.
Under the UG's jurisdiction, Amaterasu Corp grew impatient and conducted an experiment 3 years ago.
Castle asks, do you think they built a boob physics engine, or did they animate them by hand? First, the implications of that question in and of themselves are very amusing. Secondly, absolutely physics engine, because I increasingly feel like the only reason this game was funded was some, like, backdoor prototype for, like, Dead or Alive 8 or whatever we're on. They're like, we need some off-the-books excuse to vamp up our boob physics engine for this volleyball game. But, like, for some, like, legal reason, it can't be tied to our existing brand name. I know, we'll fund one of the most ill-conceived and convoluted visual novels of all time and cram it with, like, non-gameplay mechanics. But hey, boobs.
That was known as Project Homunculus.
Wasn't Dr. Weska in charge of that? What was it all about anyway?
How is it, like... So, like, anime storytelling has, like, a history of having side characters who sort of repeat or rephrase or reframe things that are going in the plot to help you understand, because sometimes those dramatic stories get kind of convoluted. But, like, in a detective game, our, like, alleged mentor, like, berating us for not being a better detective, and then, like, not bothering to pay enough attention to understand the basic concept of the thing that we're investigating a mystery about is, like, incredibly frustrating.
I don't know the exact details.
That's what we have to figure out next.
What was done in Conai Ward for the sake of research? Why is this question so similarly phrased to the last one?
Homunculus.
Looks like that's where we're starting. Good luck, Master.
To prepare for Project Homunculus? I suppose it would be the blood test. This is how we got a DNA sample to do the thing. We tested a bunch of blood, but we didn't have, like, the coolest, most handsome guy in the world or whatever. It'd be so incredibly stupid, but kind of funny, if we get, like, super deep in this convoluted, like, anime lore, and then we learn that, like, the one DNA subject that yielded a successful homunculus in the unified government's experiment was, like, the Dos Equis most interesting man in the world from those commercials. Like, not like an analog for him, but, like, literally just the Dos Equis guy. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Why is that in this game? Yeah, blood test. Honestly, if this is what this final labyrinth is like, I'm less worried about it than I was, but I still think that this is going to yield some really stupid crap, to be honest with you. I don't always go into the mystery labyrinth, but when I do, I drink Dos Equis. And have lots of boob
also
physics.
happened in Conai Ward 3 years ago, at the same time as Project Homunculus.
Something that you can see in this scene. Do you see what happened?
All the residents
Where
were
is it?
forced to take a blood test.
Maybe those mandatory blood tests had something to do with Project Homunculus?
It's true both took place 3 years ago, so I doubt they're unrelated. Which means the blood test wasn't checking for some contagious disease among the residents.
Oh my god, the fact that you are just now figuring that out makes me mad.
They were extracting DNA from everyone to see who was suitable for homunculus research. Wait, if that's the case, then Project Homunculus is... Ah!
Now there's a flood?
Oh no, this must mean that there's a bank robbery happening somewhere nearby. I'll never let this go!
Right!
This place seems familiar.
Yeah,
We've talked a
it
lot
looks like
about
Donut
the
District.
various, like the varying
wonder if we
degrees
have
of
to go
incompetent
through here.
detectives I've played video games about.
Seems that way.
I
Okay,
honestly
well,
think
let's go.
that Yuma might be the worst one. I think he might be the very worst one. And that includes, like, Date and Harry What's-His-Face from Disco Elysium. There's a weird camera. Hang on. See, every now and then you get, like, a blue glow of something that isn't, like, a cutscene about Fubuki Clockford. And it's always distracting and disappointing. I don't know why the water's doing this. There's, like, not other stuff to find. I've been looking.
Looks like you discovered something about Project Homunculus.
I might get wet down there.
That's all I've discovered in this room.
Yeah, but...
Even Ryuji is better than Yuma. He was basically high for all of Somnium Files too. Yeah? That's, I mean... If the second part weren't true, that wouldn't be so surprising. But because it is, that's fair.
What's wrong?
Well, if it's what I think it is, then horrible things were done for this research.
How could you possibly just now be grasping that? It's like illegal cloning to make monsters that eat human flesh. Like, clearly bad stuff is happening. You watched a machine turn human corpses into meat buns. Like, clearly bad stuff is happening, dude.
Things are getting pretty horrible here, too! Master, concentrate!
It's the middle one. The entirety of Kanai Ward is homunculi.
It's hard to believe, but it's the truth. Project Homunculus was an effort to create homunculi out of all the residents in Kanai Ward.
All of them?
After Amaterasu was outdone by their rival, they started searching for suitable DNA in every possible way.
I'd make a joke, but it's too lewd for my stream.
And that's what the blood tests were for. They created homunculi out of every citizen in town. Even if a few failed, all they needed was one successful specimen.
Quantity over quality. I was just gonna say, they collected DNA in every possible way, and then some variation of not the sock, and then just let your imagination fill it in. The story waited for us to be in the labyrinth before they let Yuma start being a detective. Yeah, like, unfortunately, like, that's been, like, a common theme of the game. But, like, I don't know. Certainly it's some amount subjective, but, like, I feel like there should... Like, I feel like I want this to be closer to the Phoenix Wright model. And I know I've talked a lot about Phoenix Wright, because I feel like Phoenix Wright, like, you know... close to 2 decades ago, had a better framework for, like, telling a mystery story with a logic-based game mechanic than this game made in 2023. But I think the thing that I want is, like, we solve much of the mystery in the overworld, but there's, like, something concealed to a mortal detective. And so we have to use Shinigami's power to find clues that we wouldn't have access to as a normal person, and thus be able to solve these, like, air quotes, like, incredible, difficult, and unsolvable mysteries. So, like, I feel like we should go into the labyrinth having a pretty good sense of things, and then it should be, like, game mechanics of just sort of, like, fitting the pieces together, and then using the mysterious properties of the labyrinth to fill in the gaps when we get stuck. Rather than, like, we get a bunch of disjointed information, and we as human beings with, like, a relatively adult level of comprehension and critical thinking skills figure out, like, most of what's going on, and then when you get to the mystery labyrinth, like, then you have to start all the way from scratch, like you haven't been paying attention yourself for, like, 3 hours. Like, that is not compelling to me.
That was the purpose behind Project Homunculus.
So, what happened after that?
Blank week. Yeah, that's what I would like, anime, is Yuma figures out about 80% of the mystery, but, like, there's still some holes. And, like, he has to go into the labyrinth because, you know, something forces his hand, like the Peacekeepers or whatever. But if I was making this game, I would also make the concept of the Peacekeepers make sense, because as they're written into this game, they are, like, one of the worst plot devices that have ever been created. They're really bad and annoying. Oh, cool.
You better concentrate!
What happened as a result of Project Homunculus? Blank week.
Must be it.
Also, this game mechanic works a lot better when I actually have the information to answer these questions and, like, don't figure them out for the first time in the mystery labyrinth like they've often liked to do in the past.
The blank week mystery occurred. The defective homunculi from the experiment were responsible for that event.
I'll get straight to the point. Project Homunculus is a failure. Something unexpected occurred in our efforts to find suitable DNA.
Did we discover the recipe for ice cream soup?
Although we successfully created homunculi, the results have been dubbed defective.
The event Kurumi mentioned, where the city was ruined while everyone slept. The destruction of the giant shutters of the lab where the experiment took place. All of that was caused when the defective homunculi attacked Kanai Ward.
An entire city was destroyed by defective homunculi, and no one's ever said a thing about it?
That's because during the blank week, all of the real people were killed, maybe? I'm a little foggy on this bit, but that seems to be implied and makes some amount of sense.
What is the blank week mystery anyway? How can a whole week pass in a single night?
Right. Those are the mysteries we need to unravel to get to the heart of the blank week.
Something Cinderella problem.
But I still
No,
haven't gathered
Sleeping
my
Beauty
thoughts
problem.
about it.
Haven't gathered my thoughts. Here's 3 staircases. Oh, cool, a whole building.
Master, the mystery labyrinth is getting testy! You have to give an answer now!
I know, but...
Then I'll help you. Let's lay it all out together!
Pin-up pirate. Chesty LaRue! Okay, bear with me on this one, chat. What if Yu-Gi-Oh, but the spirit in the Millennium Puzzle is a hot girl with her own physics engine? $1 million idea? $1 billion idea. What's the question in question? All of Kanai Ward's residents were... I was expecting killed. Alright, hold on. Result of an experiment. What did they do after going berserk from sunlight and attacking humans? Whatever this is, I feel like it's just some weird word that's not coming to mind. Eated? Like what? Replaced.
Great! Keep that up! Too bad. Great! Keep that up! Nice! Nice!
We're really not messing around with the alternating speeds and whatever. I don't know, for some, like, replace makes sense in that sentence. It's just, like, not the word I'm thinking of. So, like, looking at spinning letters was really throwing me off. I was figuring it was, like, they were all killed, and then we were gonna take a step to be like, then we replaced them. My brain was just, like, not thinking of the right step in that process for some reason. Oh wait, hang on everyone. My mom discovered the recipe for ice cream soup. First take a bowl of ice cream, any flavor, then wait for it. Okay, but what next? What's the next step? Like, at some point I'm going to need to know.
Great job, Master! Awesome teamwork! Master?
They were all swapped during the blank week mystery.
See, I feel like swap undersells the whole eaten scenario.
Right, but who or what was swapped?
Everyone in Kanai Ward.
Not just 6, all 6 billion of them.
Each resident was replaced by their homunculus. It happened during the blank week mystery.
See, like, I'm really not accustomed to this game making actual reasonable leaps in logic. I thought we were gonna achingly go through several more steps before reaching the point of realization that this happened, even though we worked this out, like, genuinely something like 4 to 5 in-game hours ago.
Huh? Everyone? Come on, that couldn't have happened.
Yes, it's impossible.
It's my good friend, me with glowing eyes.
Could be swapped with Homoncu-lie. That's nothing but a fantasy.
Huh? Which is the real master?
Oh my god.
Obviously it's me. The blank week mystery has nothing to do with Homoncu-lie. Your deduction is wrong. Everything you say is wrong.
The blank week mystery was caused when I filled this hat with milk and it turned into yogurt because time makes fools of us all.
I just said I'm the real one.
You have a chain on the real master. That should actually help a great deal, you would think, anime, huh? Oh, 30 minutes after waiting, your ice cream becomes delicious soup. Ah. I don't know why that, like, joke comes... It's, like, also a Futurama joke, just like the other thing I just said. There's some point where, like, I think they're talking about clones or something like that? Oh, crap, it's one of these where I can't pause. But, like...
You're wrong.
They basically say... Like, Bender's...
They couldn't have been swapped.
Bender responds to someone being like, Sorry, I need to focus on this. Good. This is dumb. What's happening?
It's a fantasy you made up.
What? These sections are so pointless.
All of it. All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it!
All of it.
Everything you say is wrong!
Master!
Should be a contradiction. He basically just shouted no several times. What am I supposed to contradict? It's such a dumb game mechanic. There's something in Futurama, I don't remember the episode or the context, but they're like talking about like it would have like all of Fry's memories, and then Bender says something like, so it would even know Fry's recipe for ice cream soup? Right? Like, I don't know what I was supposed to do there. We're not using it, so... This is a weird, nuanced version of the reasoning deathmatch that we added about halfway through the game. I don't blame anyone for not noticing that this was added because it's really stupid. Now, at this point in the game, some of these reasoning deathmatch segments start with a segment where, like, the claims that the enemy makes are in blue, and you just slash one of them because it's not right. Like, you don't even use a solution key. You just like, contradict them. You know that thing I've increasingly said that, like, this could be a cutscene? This could literally be nothing. It, like, literally is just padding to the game.
Yeah. No.
It's impossible, seems to be chat guess. I hit the move button and it just didn't. I mean, I don't think it's you're wrong. I can't prove...
couldn't have been swapped.
Couldn't have been swapped. Maybe? Nah, I just got hit by it.
Impossible!
Yeah, I think it's they couldn't have been swapped, probably.
Damn.
Good luck!
Yeah. No.
It's just stupid. Like, this just, like, isn't...
You're wrong.
I sometimes complain that waiting isn't a good game mechanic, and that's, like, basically all this is.
Couldn't have been swapped.
I think this comes my way, right?
That claim doesn't hold up.
Watch, it's no, no, no. I mean, that would honestly be on brand for this game at this point.
No! There's proof.
Not that I've become disillusioned or whatever.
No, that's a lie! It's all made up!
Anyway, says, oh god, Honkai Star Rail did this so much better, and that was added for a funny bit because they were doing a thing where you had to debate a corporate lawyer in an event. Yeah, I mean, like... The idea behind the reasoning deathmatch isn't without merit. The application of it is, like... It's not quite like platforming game mechanics, but the, like, dodging between words, like... looks kind of cool, but, like, isn't really anything. And, like, having to wait for your opportunity to, like, try and interject your point isn't, like, great. And also, like, this game, and this may be, like, a localization thing, I'm not sure, But there are like a number of times in this game where it's like genuinely confusing, like what point the game wants you to like contradict or press in a way that feels like largely only trial and error or luck can succeed at, which is frustrating. So now we get keys.
Residents.
So I'm looking to prove that they existed. Effective homunculi encounter sunlight, they become stressed and lose control. Ruby's investigation yielded a report about their characteristics. It describes peculiarities and details concerning memory. Honestly, this might be the first time where all three of these feel like they might have a chance at being applied, which feels like it's a bad sign for me. Because, like, you could argue that the whole ward where people who've died are zombies could be evident. That seems less likely now I'm saying that out loud. When defective homunculi encounter sunlight, they become extremely stressed and lose control. I mean, like, we've already sort of implied that the specific detail of the event we're talking about is that, like, we made this army of homunculi and they immediately went insane because of the sunlight. Which, like, kind of dovetails with the part of this that talks about, like, flawed memory when they die. But, like, thinking about that out loud, that also seems to complicate my understanding of things, because if what we're saying is that we made the homunculi and they were exposed to sunlight, then, like, by the earlier description from Makoto, wouldn't that mean they all died? So then, like, how would there be any homunculi left to serve as the foundation of, like, a functional town? Yeah, 3 seems relatively likely because of the memory thing. I'm also kind of inclined, like, 2 seems a little plausible depending on what he says, but sure, we'll lock in 3 and see if we talk about memory.
Homunculi?
I hate the jumping ones.
Impossible.
Oh, I
Something
think I
else
learned
caused
early
the blank
on
week.
that you can, like, remain
Everyone was
airborne
drugged and
by
knocked
slashing
out.
in midair.
Every resident fell asleep.
I don't think that's
So,
anything.
there's a gap in their memories.
Oh, didn't actually see
That's
those
why
words
the memories
coming
connect
in.
across that week.
Slash? No, okay. I don't care. Take all my hit points. I really don't care. I just, at this point, I just want to reach the end of this game, I think. I can't even be mad, because I just don't care enough. I think when a homunculus is made up, they have up-to-date mem. But here's my problem. And maybe I didn't articulate this well enough. But, so, timeline. We're saying that blank week happens, right? And the cause for blank week is the fact that homunculi went insane with rage and, like, killed all the people and wrecked up the town, right? And the reason why they went insane with rage is because they were exposed to sunlight and no one knew that that was a weakness of the defective homunculi made in Kanai Ward. And the problem I have is here, at this point I just elaborated, because the way Makoto described it is that, like, they have an allergic reaction to sunlight that kills them. And if they're killed, then their memory and their, like, cognitive facilities are, like, rendered inert or whatever. So basically my point is, as we're sort of elaborating this now with some of these recent in-labyrinth discussions, it makes it sound like the reason blank week happened is because we determined that the entire batch of homunculus citizens, like, died, but then they wouldn't be functional enough to be the inhabitants of the town. I also think homunculi have to die several times before they become zombies. I mean, this game is really inconsistent, so I can't be certain of this. But I think the very fact that, like, during the course of this game, we've seen several people die, and every single one of them is like a flesh-hungry zombie in the restricted area, makes me think that's not true.
Yeah.
Then...
There'd be no difference between the memories of homunculi and original people. Okay, we're
Residents
definitely
were
talking about
swapped with
memories, so it's definitely
homunculi?
key 3.
That's impossible! Something else caused the blank week. Everyone was drugged and knocked out.
Time.
Every resident fell asleep.
I think this is a duck?
So, there's a gap in their memories. That's why the memories connect across that week. That's impossible if they were swapped. If they were swaps, they'd be different beings.
I shouldn't have tried it. I know it's wrong. I'm so...
Yeah.
This feels like a really dumb line of questioning, and I just want to be done with it.
Residents were swapped with homunculi? That's impossible.
Truly one of my weaknesses playing this game is that I get really impatient during these sections because, like, they don't use, like, great cause and effect. And so, like, rather than it feeling like, ooh, I'm engaged, I'm solving a puzzle, I'm like, what's the dumb thing that you want me to say so I can advance to something more interesting? Is, like, the emotional response I have. And, like, I can't pretend that's not a flaw in myself, but, like, it's the reason why I consistently end up in this thing I'm doing right now. And I don't feel like it's entirely unreasonable either.
Different beings. Their memories would be totally different too.
Okay, it's definitely this one.
I'll slash through this mystery.
I hate when they make me wait till the end because I want to finish it sooner.
A homunculus retains all the memories their original had when their DNA was first extracted. That's why the specimens created by the experiment also have memories from before the blood test. It explains how their memories are linked.
Not entirely, because that, like, memory isn't linked to your DNA or whatever, but sure.
No, your reasoning is obviously wrong.
Oh, shoot, I hadn't accounted for that.
They can inherit memories?
I didn't look at my keys at all. Report about homunculus. Wow, I hate how completely useless this detail is. Defective homunculus. When defective homunculi encounter sunlight, they become stressed and lose control. Feels like it's the middle one. Because I can't... What was Desahiko's thing? I think Desahiko's was... Because it was first, I think it was basically just like two labs, both alike in dignity, tried to make homunculus. So I feel like the only reasonable one here is defective homunculus, and he's gonna be like, how come they didn't remember their memories if they were cloned? And you said that they remembered their memories.
What about the week no one remembers? If memories are kept after swapping, there wouldn't be a gap in their memories. This is the truth.
That one was a lot easier than the previous one.
Defective homunculi go berserk in sunlight. They lose all sense of reason as well as their memories. The sunlight made them go wild as soon as they were born, wiping their memories during that time.
I mean, I sort of get what we're going for here. I do feel like we haven't really set super clear rules that, like, that loss of memory can potentially be, like, temporary, but sure.
There was sunlight shining through the lab. Maybe it was to test if the creatures had overcome that weakness, but the experiment failed.
In a previous experiment, a defective homunculus was exposed and died.
I feel like this is like the worst match game prompt of all time. It was exposed to blank
Trying
and died.
to adjust for it worked against us. Made them even more violent and...
The Ocean says, I just like how this kind of forces you to take damage on a guess, since A and B could be it, and if you go to A and get it wrong, but you need a full pass to know it was really, like, A, B, C, D, and not E, F. Yeah, like... I mean, again, it's something I've gotten really frustrated about, and over time I've tried to sort of take more ownership over as, like, being my own personal impatience, but I do still kind of feel like there is something, like... I mean, again, waiting is not a great gameplay mechanic, so the notion that you just, like, dodge all these words over and over and, like, wait for your opportunity to try the guess is just, like... It's, like, frustrating and not fun. It's, like, fair in a certain way, because you can, like... You can, with discipline, wait till the end of the thing and hear all the things and then take your guess, but, like, human nature just, like, you want to try it. It's just... For some reason, I find it really annoying, so, like, I completely back you on this, but, like... On some level, I want to say it's not as bad as I think it is, but I don't know if that's really true. I definitely dislike it. Castle says, can I pick Betty White? Yeah, you could try to match with Betty White. Top of this, why the health bar if it's chip damage and there's no plot achievement to failing? I don't know, maybe there's, like, achievements for taking none damage. I don't think I've ever done that. It's like in the early ones, like, I got by, like, minor mechanic control things a lot, and then, like, later on there was, like, more asinine theory matching or whatever. But yeah, I mean, even Phoenix Wright backed off the strict health bar in later games, right? Or was that the other way around? They changed their system at one point from, like, health bar to, like, individual points, or vice versa? Probably they don't lower the life bar when you get it. I mean, you do take a small amount of damage, I think, anytime you get anything wrong. But I do think that this game was engineered in such a way that they expected you to get a ton of stuff wrong. Which, like, on the one hand, I guess it's good that the scoring system is relatively forgiving, considering how easy it is to take that damage. But on the other hand, like, I personally am not a huge fan of a system that's basically engineered for you to fail, because it's super triggering for me for, like, bad instruction to set me up to fail. So, like, you can see why I've had, like, an increasingly adverse reaction to the subject of Reasoning Deathmatch in particular, but also just generally the Mystery Labyrinth. Pick Richard Dawson. Excellent choice, Sarah. You can never go wrong with Richard Dawson. That's true. Okay, I was remembering that right. Phoenix Wright started with the bar and then gave you the 5 individual wrong answers. This is the system for if they expect that there's no confidence in plot or audience. Yeah, it feels like that's not accidental.
They went berserk and attacked Kanai Ward. When they eventually returned to their senses, their memories were reset to before the blood test.
Which is yet another plot convenience, sure.
An entire week had passed by then.
Anime says, I think it's more like they made it like this and then realized by design it is stupid hard, so they just went late to change it so it doesn't kill you. I could believe that. I honestly don't remember what the difficulty settings on this game are. I don't think I ever opted to set them, like, super low, did I? Honestly, don't remember. It says, this meta-analysis is making me edgy. Would you be okay with me gifting you a puzzle game that respects the audience's intelligence? Talos Principle? My answer to that is, like, yes, but no. I don't typically like to run 3D games off my computer because it's pretty bad and I think it's on its way out. I don't think it will run Talos Principle very well. I am amenable to play Talos Principle. I played a little, like, I watched a little bit of it played and also, like, gifted it to Tech for, like, a Christmas gift exchange we did on our YouTube channel. But, like, it's probably, for various reasons, something I'd probably want to play off console. But I appreciate the sentiment.
But since none of them remembered what happened, the week felt like a single day to them.
I mean, I don't really have the opposite problem, particularly on a week like this one.
That's what caused the blank week mystery?
Got a little something on your smoky eye. Okay, cool. Back to the slightly less annoying part of the mystery dungeon. Oh, thank you for watching, Demolition. You don't have to... Don't thank me. Thank Justice Fruit Pies. I'm just made of references to the 90s and whatnot. And also, apparently, to 1976 with Match Game. I have no shame. Got those after the first round. Yeah, no, I'm aware. I just...
I don't believe
had the thought to make the glib comment. I don't know.
Everyone in Kanai Ward is a homunculus?
Yeah, there's no mistake.
Look at that physics.
This city is a city of homunculi.
Even the Flatty? And Fuzzhead too? Everybody?
They're all
Mentioned
homunculiers.
anything like that? How'd they manage to hide it?
Because they're all homunculiers. I just said
Neither
this.
of them knew they'd been replaced by homunculi either. That's because they lost those memories when they emerged as homunculi and went wild.
And what happened to the original residents? The ones who first lived in Kanai Ward?
Eaten. Pretty sure they got eaten.
I think they're gone.
What do you mean, gone?
Meat buns. I feel like this case would be a lot more fun if you just answered
Defective
with, like,
homunculi went berserk and
short
attacked
sentences every
Kanai
time.
Ward. The original residents died. All of them.
They're all dead?
Continue, I called you meat buns. Do you have a problem with that?
That explains how the homunculi replaced their originals after they returned to their senses.
What was that memory flashback? I think that was the game having a delayed reaction to Demolition's earlier suggestion that we flash back to the entire story. It's trying now.
By the time the homunculi regained consciousness, the originals were gone. With the exception of those like Kurumi's grandfather, who refused the blood test and vanished completely. That's because those who didn't have their DNA extracted had no homunculus to replace them.
So if they were killed without a substitute in place, they were considered missing.
I don't think they were considered missing. I think maybe we said that they were missing.
This is the tragedy that befell Kanai Ward 3 years ago. That's the truth behind the blank week mystery.
Oh no, Inception is happening or something. Or maybe it's the first Doctor Strange movie or whatever. Oh man, I saw the weirdest commercial the other day. Oh, dang it, straight back into the reasoning deathmatch. I saw this absolutely baffling commercial yesterday that was like... So it started by showing the Sphere in Las Vegas, that new weird theater that they made like basically specifically for U2 or whatever. And it's one of its defining features is that like the outside of it is like big screens that they just play weird images and graphics and stuff on. So like the commercial starts by showing Vegas there, and then like it shows like a really badly rendered like CG Doctor Strange like appear on the Sphere, but then he like does a Doctor Strange portal and he hops out of the Sphere, and then he's like waving his hands around and making like Vegas landmarks and addresses appear inside the Sphere. And then like it starts showing like promotional graphics for like Samsung phones, and it just like kept going and going. And I'm like, there's so many things here. There's like Marvel and Samsung and like Vegas as a tourist destination and like the Sphere as a company. Like, what is this commercial for? It's for like everything. I don't understand that commercial. It's so long. I like literally didn't watch the end. Like, I was so curious about it, and it was just like, it said it had like 3 more minutes. I'm like, there's no shot I'm watching this. Anyway, it says, so the timeline is Amaterasu Corp by Kanai Ward accidentally released a zombie apocalypse on Kanai Ward, then Makoto showed up and fixed the problem. Kind of. So, like, I think the full timeline is Kanai Ward is like a garbage rural town. Then the unified government wants a zombie army and funds 2 research laboratories, both alike in dignity. And so, like, Amaterasu Corps is founded in or around the pre-existing Kanai Ward. Supposedly, first, the unified government experiment succeeds with, like, a successful test subject who's definitely Makoto. And then, like, almost immediately thereafter, then Amaterasu Corp creates a zombie apocalypse, which overruns their town and replaces all the residents with zombies. And then the unified government threatens to, like, take military action to obliterate Kanai Ward because now it's just full of zombie homunculi. And then Makoto, being, like, a homunculus who understands who he is, approached them and was like, I'm going to run the Kanai Ward as, like, its own city-state of zombie people with rights who don't know that they're homunculi. If that helps at all.
You exposed the mystery behind the city. You are an uninvited guest here. You're the enemy. But it's not over yet. You still haven't reached the truth behind this city.
It was built on rock and roll.
I won't let it happen. I will shelter the mystery of Kanai Ward.
None of this was told to the WDO. I mean, the WDO operates independently of the unified government, so there's a chance of that. Except for the fact that that note on that in that corpse's pocket implied that number 1 from the WDO was responsible for... I mean, I guess technically the note asks how number 1 doesn't know that they're sending all the criminals to Kanai Ward, so, like, maybe that's possible. It seems pretty dumb, though. Although, given what is implied by the fact that the Mystery Phantom is us, like, Makoto is also us because he stands in the way of the truth, and if Makoto is us, that means that us is also number 1, which would mean that we're in charge of the WDO and didn't know any of this, which is why we invoked evil book power. Like, it's so contrived to get there, but this game loves contriving the truth. Okay, what do we have here? Memo on corpse. Yeah, the thing I was just talking about. Video recorded by the doctor talks about homunculus research. At the end of the recording, he's shown being killed by a defective homunculus. So maybe that was original Dr. Wesker or whatever. Previous investigation yielded a report about homunculus characteristics, describes physical peculiarities and details concerning memories. I'll start with memo on corpse. I don't know where we're going with this.
Swapping places is just in your head.
Oh no.
You have no proof a switch even took place.
Do I? No. That's fine.
There's zero evidence for that.
Pew, pew,
The homunculi were destroyed after the experiment. At the hands
Could be
of
the Vivia
researchers who
report, but I
saw
don't think so.
failures.
That's the research. I mean, you could argue that the doctor's confession video counters that because he was a scientist overseeing that and he got killed by zombies.
That's why it's impossible.
You're impossible.
Homunculi would have attacked the city. No one was killed by the homunculi.
Oh, no, hold on. It's probably this one. The end of the recording is shown being killed by homunculi. Yeah, that might do that.
This is the truth.
Got him. Didn't take damage that time because I was a little bit patient. It makes such a huge difference in this game. It's stupid. I'm generally a patient person, but there's something about this gameplay that just makes me, like, so antsy.
Homunculus. It clearly shows the doctor dying at the hands of a defective homunculus who went out of control. But we met the doctor at Amaterasu's lab, even though he should have been dead already.
Yeah, but like, that's a whole separate
after he
thing.
died proves he and the other citizens were all replaced by homunculi.
I mean, that's a little bit of a logical leap, but good enough. Good enough for unified government work, am I right?
I see. So the doctor at the lab was also swapped out homunculus.
My god, you're all so stupid.
That's why he didn't know about the results of the experiment. And also why he knew
He didn't even remember the terrible things he did.
he caused the city's greatest tragedy. But maybe what little conscience he had left urged him to leave evidence. No, not yet. I refuse to give up.
Or deathmatch by the loading screen. It's a weird end to that.
Protect Kanai Ward.
Why does the other master want to protect Kanai Ward so badly?
Because he loves all the people here. There's a person for that.
You don't fully understand it yet. You know nothing about Kanai Ward.
Do you think the real Makoto can fly and make glowing eyes?
Darkness.
The rain. There's a machine for that.
Master, watch out!
What is the reason for the unending rain? It's a big machine.
Cut it to pieces!
That's not it.
I can't avoid
Ugh,
it.
dang it. There's like so not enough time to both read
You
those
don't
and
fully
respond to them in
understand
one
yet.
go. As we've
You
talked
know
about before.
nothing
I mean, it was that
about
third
Kanai
one,
Ward.
but like because like I had to check what button it was, so I got shot in the head.
About its darkness.
Master, watch out!
For the record, I would have pressed the wrong button.
Master, cut it to pieces!
The rain clouds covered Kanai Ward to block out sunlight, which homunculi are vulnerable to. The homunculi stopped their attack thanks to the clouds covering the city.
Luckily, a random person could casually make that happen,
don't let him
trivially
get away.
easily, barely an
Finish this.
inconvenience.
That hypocrite! I'll expose him for who he is. We're not
I bet
done
if we
yet.
held up a mask to him, he'd look
city's
just like that
darkness
mask
goes even
guy.
deeper.
Where did the dead end up? In the rural
That's
village.
the answer.
That's not even like a little bit mysterious at this point. That's one of the most definite things we know from this chapter.
Dead in Kanai Ward are transported to the abandoned village, a restricted area. Whenever a defective homunculus revives, its intelligence decreases, turning it into a zombie. The city would have been overrun with zombified homunculi if the bodies were left alone. That's why the bodies have been getting sent to the abandoned village.
Peacekeepers always tried to get rid of the bodies as fast as possible. Did they know they'd turn into zombies?
Probably.
No, they were probably just following orders. They were told that bodies in this city rot quickly.
I mean, that could just as easily be a cover story from the, like, criminal police organization as it could be a directive to them.
The people of Kanai Ward, including the Peacekeepers, didn't know that they're all homunculi. It must also be the reason why they were so strict about keeping this place isolated from the outside world.
We've got you now! There's nowhere to run, Master!
I told you, that's not me! You think that's enough to defeat me?
I don't know.
You think that's enough to expose Kanai Ward's darkness? More! Kanai Ward's darkness goes far, 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 far deeper than that!
He's got a remote! What is the source of nutrition? It's meat buns. But the meat buns are also people. Just as far, 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 far. Yeah, far
That's right.
deeper than that.
The people in Kanai Ward love their meat buns. You know what they're made of, don't you?
Meat.
The main source of nutrients for homunculi is human flesh. That's why everyone craved those meat buns so much. Warning.
I don't need a
Homunculi
map to
are
get to Bone Town.
predisposed to eating human flesh in order to maintain the artificial organic synthesis in their cells.
Just it says, I immediately remember Kingdom Hearts whenever someone mentions darkness like that. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Currently, there are no alternate sources of nutrition, and they grow sick if they do not consume human flesh.
Yeah, I completely agree, Demolition. Why are we doing this now? We've done this so long ago. Anything we do should be a cutscene. I mean, like, this is, like, part of the problem. Maybe not even with the idea, but the way these segments are implemented, where they want you to, like, think fast and, like, answer really quickly, is that this game, like, typically does it really far in either direction, where, like, either you have basically no information and it's a logical leap, and so, like, you're just guessing and you're just as likely to get it wrong as right, or it does it, like, way after you've established this, and, like, the game has, like, literally directly told you that the meat buns are people, and, like, not, like, all of this, like, we went over all of this. Like, not to mention the fact that, like, just generally, this game has, like, a lot of QuickTime style mechanics in the Mystery Labyrinth, and, like, in my opinion, all of them are very aggressively timed. Like, they literally are like, think fast. They're not like, respond quickly. They're like, think fast. And if you, like, don't immediately know the right thing to do, you just get, like, punched in the head.
That's a primal instinct homunculi can never defy. What are you? Mystery phantoms are supposed to prevent mysteries from being exposed.
Maybe he's like the guy who keeps telling you all the stuff, the one you claimed was cornered because you figured out all the stuff that he told you to your face, you idiot.
And yet, it's like you're guiding me to the truth.
I mean, in fairness, he's only just started doing that. Previously, he was doing normal Mystery Phantom stuff for the most part.
It's not just the meat buns. Residents
rain
of
also
Kanai
people?
Ward also have other characteristics. Of course, I'm sure you've already noticed them.
Huge tracts of land. Oh my god, it's the return of the big bomb!
A bomb?
Not just any bomb. Big bomb.
He's trying to boom kill you, but you can defuse it by solving the mystery.
Now,
You've seen it time and time again. You should already know this.
Katane says, honestly, this feels like a Japanese problem. Their games and anime feel like it repeat the same information over and over and over again. I would argue yes and no. I think that there's a cultural difference from communication in Japan and Japanese media that predisposes itself to being a little redundant. But, like, this is beyond the pale. Like, I feel like even within the confines of, like, Japanese storytelling, this is, like, grossly overly redundant. And, like, it also doesn't help that, like, our main character who's supposed to be a detective, like, never learns anything the first time. So, like, he literally needs to be told, like, 3 times before he starts figuring anything about the mystery out. Then we should ask, because it's indirect translation to a more direct language that makes it more repetitive? Partially. I mean, like, I think that's the thing that lends to it naturally, is that, like, in Japanese, it's more natural to use language in a way that's a little circuitous, is my understanding. Not an expert on Japanese by any means. But then, like, you know, as a speaker of English, a Western language, it doesn't necessarily come across the same way. And I would argue that there are edits that could be made in the localization process, like, independent from translation, that could pare some of that down. Whether or not it's correct to do that, I think is subjective, but I think that you could make additional changes. But, like, even, I mean, it's also just, like something of a writing problem in general. Like, I've seen, like, indie visual novel games, like, written by, like, English speakers that, like, kind of do the same stuff. And, like, maybe you could argue that it's, like, intentional to, like, mimic the style of, like, a traditional Japanese visual novel, but like at the same time, it like still reads and feels pretty bad to just like keep doing it. Like I just think like a lot of writers don't necessarily take the actual reading pass necessary over the completed work to be like, you know what? I don't need like this whole section of dialogue or whatever.
They're physical abnormalities. It's another part of Kanai Ward's darkness.
What specific thing are we talking about? We already went over the cannibalism, the weird memory, the fact that they don't die.
Physical abnormalities?
Oh, the blood.
Let's go, Master! We gotta join hands and defeat my other Master!
Are we doing that? Are we doing that? Okay. Not where I saw this going. I think it's the editor who's not doing a good job of reading the past. But the problem with that is, like, if the editor is Japanese, they could be doing their job, and then, again, you run into the problem of, like... hold on. The answer is pink. Oh my god, the changing speed is really annoying. I think A is here. And K was on the bottom? But then you run into like the ethicality problem of like, oh, is it right to like alter the original work to translate it so it like works better for the other audience? Debatable. I think we've had this pose before. I think they've literally run out of sexy poses even for this game. Yeah, Kessa says they could cut out a lot of dialogue since English is more direct. You could, but again, like, is it right to do that? I mean, like, you can argue that it is, and you can argue that it's not. Like, some people might be a purist that they want the original experience of the Japanese directly translated. For a game like this, I think I would prefer a more mindful approach to localization. But, like, part of that, I think, is the scope of the game. And I think part of that is also the specific way it's written, which is, like, not particularly good. Hey, Crit Twitch, welcome to the stream. How it goes? Honestly, like, pretty good. I mean, like, I was really kind of dreading this last Mystery Labyrinth that we've clearly started. This isn't reality with all the floating buildings and whatnot. But, like, it's going okay. I didn't have a good week, but this week went better than it probably should have. So, like, I'm doing all right. How you doing? Define localization. Okay, that's a reasonable question. So, like, obviously there's some level of literal translation, right? In order to make an English version of this game, someone must translate the text from Japanese to English. Localization would be making changes other than, like, the direct change for the benefit of the intended audience of the translated version of the game. What would be the best example of this? I mean, Phoenix Wright has a lot of stuff like this. So, for example, like, in the English translated version of Phoenix Wright, allegedly the game takes place in Los Angeles. And I think that's to make it feel a little more relatable to, like, you know, Americans in particular, I suppose. But then, like, there will also be things that, like, feel, like, really culturally Japanese that are left the same. So, like, there are things that are in that game that are edited to, like, reference being in California or America or whatever. Whereas, you know, there's, like, a whole case about, like, knowing specific things about Japanese styles of noodles that was, like, a real mind orgy for me, because I'm like, I don't understand any of this. And they were like, but what type of noodle was he talking about? Was it udon noodles? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. So, like, they could have changed that, but, like, it would have meant, like, a major overhaul to that case. So, for some reason, there's, like, a really culturally Japanese, like, noodle stand rivalry or something in one of those games or something.
Huh? Pink blood?
I'm like, they, like, explicitly told us about the pink blood. I need them to stop doing this.
Hey! Everyone did have pink blood! I think I got too used to it.
What's annoying about this is, like, there should, like, this sort of confirms that at the very least Shinigami should have had like at least like an offhanded reaction to it. Like, I appreciate they were trying to save this as a big reveal, and it works well enough. But, like, the fact that it shouldn't be pink is rendered, like, retroactively annoying by the fact that, like, none characters are like, Because, like, a bunch of people in chat are like, yeah, what's the deal with the pink blood? I'm like, I don't know, his other game has pink blood, whatever. But, like, shouldn't, like, someone think that's weird? They've done nothing to show that pink blood is not natural. Which, like, if it's handled a certain way, I'm fine with it. But the fact that, like, there are characters in this world who expect the blood to be red, and there's, like, nothing, not even, like, I know of another game that does something like this, where, like, a couple characters make these, like, weird comments about, like, like, another character whose, like, perspective you have, and you're like, oh, that's weird. And then, like, later on, there's an explanation given, and you're like, oh, now I get all those weird little comments. But, like, it doesn't really work here, because it's like, well, someone should just, like, literally have said something.
Now that I think about it, it's really abnormal.
Oh, now, you know, when you really think about it, blood shouldn't be bright pink, I guess.
Blood being pink instead of red is obviously strange.
It's really dumb in hindsight. Like, the fact that they try to treat this, like, really, like, oh, you know what? Like, that's so stupid.
That's right. From the very beginning, I thought something was off. Since I first saw a corpse in the city,
I am almost positive he didn't say anything
I
about
had
it.
suspicions about the color of the blood here. Is that a real corpse? It's not some mannequin, is it? This blood is real? How? Why?
This is such garbage. To claim that this comment is like, oh yeah, I thought the blood was weird. Like, he's like reacting to a corpse for the first time. He's like, oh my god, it's real blood. Like, that's not him having suspicions. That's stupid.
Me. Like it was somehow changing the way I see things.
So dumb.
You don't feel anything after seeing this body?
You're asking me how I feel about death? Well, let me tell ya, this is totally ordinary.
Yeah, see? Like, they even have her say it's ordinary.
There's nothing odd about there being a corpse.
This is such a bad... Like, the idea is kind of fun, especially playing off of the notion that, like, the previous game made by this game developer, like, used pink blood as, like, a stylized thing. But, like, this retroactive garbage sucks. I really don't like this.
The color of human blood doesn't matter to me.
But why didn't the other master detectives mention anything about the color?
I think they were all homunculi too. That's my theory.
It wasn't mentioned at all while I was investigating crime scenes with Halara. Oh, right! Maybe...
The rain sure has changed things around here. Supposedly, there's something in the rain that messes with our bodies and the environment. But
oh my god, like, none of these is like an even remotely direct statement about the nature of the blood, and they're like, look at all these clues we gave you! It's like, what are you talking about? He's basically like, water's wet, and you're like, oh my god, the blood should have been red!
It could be because Chief Yako said the rain affects things.
This is so dumb. The more they're talking about this, the more upset it makes me. Like, if they tried to just gloss over it at this point, I'd be like, okay, sure, haha. But now they're trying to be like, look how clever we are! And it's like, none of this works.
In fact, maybe it wasn't just the master detectives. Chief Yako and the other people in town. Maybe they all believed it too. For example, they could have said there were some chemical properties in the rain that causes blood to change color. In that case,
well, several of the bodies were inside.
Blood was pink. Yes, homunculi have pink blood. Maybe they were made that way to differentiate them from their originals.
I have a really hard time believing that any amount of thought was put into anything we did with the Project Homunculus, considering that the beings that we created were weak to sunlight and craved human flesh. Like, I just don't think anything deliberate happened ever.
Now, you're finally seeing the big picture.
Can we talk about...
I've been waiting for this!
Can we talk about the implications of that sentence just now? As we chase him across these buildings, going over all the things that distinguish homunculi, he's like, oh my god, this is so much darker than you realize. It's so dark, so very, 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 very dark, or something like that. And then the next thing he does is be like, their blood is pink. And then afterwards he's like, don't you understand? Now everything is clear. The blood is pink? That's the big dark secret? Like, what are you talking about?
Master's mystery phantom sure doesn't seem scared of these mysteries being solved. Anyway, we gotta beat him! Otherwise, you'll get caught in its destruction!
Fine. Let's end this. It's time to expose the truth of Kanai Ward's ultimate secret. It's over! You? You think you can do it?
Oh, I don't like that. Wait, what? I don't... You really think we're done with this? I don't think we're done with this. I don't know why he thinks we're done with this, but I guess he's proven to be an okay. Can I save in the deduction denouement? This might be a good place to pick up, if that's humanly possible. I don't think it is. Huh. Now, I could try and rely on autosave. I want to go too much longer, and it feels like this might be a good way to, like, recap at the start of, like, next week's stream. Just to just, like, go over this, like, stupid review. I mean, I guess the stream has reinforced this game's ability to autosave appropriately. And maybe that was the purpose for the crash all along. Alright, I've convinced myself. I'll figure this out. And it just, like, recapping this game was getting increasingly bonkers. And so having this as an aid to start the next stream might help. I don't think this is actually the end of the game. I feel like we probably got at least the better part of like a full stream left. I'll admit that we entered the mystery labyrinth a little bit earlier than I thought. I thought we'd probably enter at like the end of this stream, and we've already gotten something like an hour and a half in the mystery labyrinth. Well, the problem is, like, I could just not turn off the Switch, in theory, but then I also couldn't do anything on the Switch, which kind of sucks, because I've been playing some other games on the Switch between streams. Like, it's an option. It's not a great option. Nobody would ever give birth or something. This is running into the Final Fantasy 13-2 problems with the mortals. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I know all that much about 13 enough to comment on that, but like many of the individual mysteries of this game, it feels like we didn't really think through a lot of the mysteries that we were supposed to deduce in this game, because like when you think about them more, they make less sense, which is generally a pretty bad sign, I think. Long story short, everyone stopped aging. Same with newborns and pregnant people. Yeah, I mean, like, I do actually think the game explicitly said something about people stopping aging, right? I mean, in fairness, at least for the adults, like 3 years have passed since blank week. So you know, not showing signs of aging in 3 years isn't, like, necessarily super suspicious. However, we do know that there are kids in town, which is also just kind of weird. It made, like, child homunculi. I mean, I get the idea of, like, trying to do the quantity over quality experimentation to, like, just cast a wide net and try to get a successful homunculus. But at the same time, like, cloning an entire town's worth of people feels like it leads to, like, a staggering quantity of logistical and ethical nightmares. Like, it just sounds horrible. Like, you, like, wouldn't want that, right? Yeah, all in the course of a week. Now, in fairness, that week wasn't supposed to happen the way that it did happen. I mean, like, I guess we don't strictly know how long it took them to make the clones, because the blank week was the result of once the clones were made and exposed to sunlight. That was what the week duration was. There's something, like, almost, like, darkly comedic about the notion, like, at one point they definitely said something like, oh, you know, blank week happened, and, like, all the calendars were, like, a week ahead, and we didn't know why, but, like, people who had business outside the city were able to confirm that, like, a week had passed. So, like, just funny to imagine that, like, these homunculi were created, exposed to sunlight, went, like, full Frankenstein and started wrecking up the town, and then, like, woke up as if from, like, a bad hangover, and were like, ugh, my mouth is terrible. It feels like I ate somebody, but I gotta get back to my day job at the office. Like, there's just something, like, really weird about that being, like, canonically accurate. I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Demolition, in that you said something earlier where, like, if suddenly a whole town's worth of people started bleeding pink, like, there'd be, like, at least vague unrest and, like, conspiracy theories and such. Like, I genuinely have a pretty hard time believing at this point in my life that any, like, random explanation... Like, here's the thing, right? Even if the government makes this explanation of, like, oh, like, a mysterious thing has happened and now it constantly rains here, and there's, like, something chemical in the rain that changes the color and properties of your blood. Like, even if you accept that as true, you do not accept that as okay. You're like, what did you do to my blood? That's super upsetting. Like, that wouldn't be a satisfying explanation to make people stop asking questions about, like, the nature of, like, the weird thing that you're trying to get people to stop asking about, right? If you, like, woke up one day and you're like, ah, man, like, this stomach's, like, really bothering me. I kind of feel like I have food poisoning, but I didn't eat anything strange. And then, like, your partner was like, oh yeah, I poisoned your food. Like, that's an explanation as to why you feel like you have food poisoning. But it doesn't end the discussion, because now you're like, why did you poison me? That's weird. Anyway, I know I get a lot of criticism for, like, trying to make sense of this game, but, like, listen, if the honest to God literal problem is, like, if I don't at least try to make sense of the game, then we're never going to be able to finish it, because the game is expecting me to try. And if I don't put in the effort, it's like, I'm just not going to be able to finish these stupid reasoning death matches. Why did you poison me? The new slogan at Golden Corral. Love it. Put that on the back of the box for some reason, Demolition. Fund it. Anyway, I hope you continue to enjoy this mess. I mean, I genuinely like this mystery labyrinth more than most of them. And all I can say is that's not a compliment to this mystery labyrinth. It's mostly an insult to the others, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back next week to maybe conclude this game. I'm honestly not sure at this point. I thought we'd have at least 2 more weeks. Now I could kind of see that going either way. Tomorrow, we're still going to be playing some Cobalt Core because this week has also been quite bad. Good news is, like, there's a reasonable shot that next week is not terrible. So, like, then maybe I can start Quern or look into something else. I just, like, I've really needed any free time I have to, like, decompress from work. It's been really stressful lately. And even at that, it's been, like, maybe 2 hours most days. Like, it hasn't been a lot. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing the conclusion of this, please join next Friday or catch it on YouTube because they all get posted there. Tomorrow, Cobalt Core. Next Saturday, maybe something new. Before we close out the stream, though, somewhere on the couch behind me, I've hidden a secret Squirtle. Now, keep in mind, if you can see a Squirtle like this guy up here, or this fellow down here, well, it's not a secret. You can see that guy. But maybe one of them, or someone else on the couch, is concealing a Squirtle. And so I encourage you, while I drink some of this 100% juice apple, which probably isn't homunculus blood or other bodily fluids, but it's hard to say. Take a moment, consider where you think the Squirtle might be, and place your bets. Because if you locate a secret Squirtle, it's an omen of good luck for you in the coming days. Where the heck is Dolphin? I mean, I have a little dolphin friend. He's not currently on the couch. I do have the kind of similar looking pterodactyl, if that's the question. Oh, I see. Yeah, with the mug. Yeah, that's our pterodactyl friend, who I call Shanty. Alright, I see some good guesses. Let's see if we can find that squirt. Meow. Meow. Ah, my knees! Okay, where do we start? I guess we can start with Shanty. We'll get a close look at her, because it's been a while. She hasn't been on the couch recently. Hiding behind her is Donut Cat, whose donut is currently being eaten over here. Take a look. She's one of the very good Valentine's Day ones from last year. I absolutely love her, like, teeny little smile. And, of course, her hot cocoa is very good. And she has sparkle wings that are, like, full glitter on the back. And you can kind of see, like, the pterodactyl angle head thing. Just so good. No Squirtle, though. I mean, there's so many good details. There's also a lot of good details on this other Valentine's Day one from last year. This is Celestina, the donut-eating dragon. She's so happy to eat that donut. It's got, like, little heart sprinkles on it. She got little sparkly horns and sparkly... I guess the ears aren't sparkly. But she also has wings. They're not, like, sequin sparkles on the back. They're just, like, regular, fun tie-dye colors. But yeah, she's pretty great. No Squirtle there either. There was a guest behind Cool Spot. And that's our Winter Woodstock friend from Charlie Brown. So I got distracted because I left the Switch idle for like a couple minutes. And somehow it switched to this new screen that it wasn't on before. I don't know what that's about. What are the other guesses? Loaf of bread. This one, I thought there was another one. Oh, behind the kitty with the blue Christmas hat. Kitty. The blue, oh, yeah. And the kitty with the blue Christmas hat. Okay, gotcha. So. Concerned Loaf. Classic friend, Concerned Loaf. Pick it up, but that would spoil the surprise of what's next to him, because he's always load-bearing. Hiding back there is Vaporeon. It's our little EV evolution buddy. And hiding behind Winter Cat in his winter hat is actually a little bitty Squirtle. I wanted to put the fuzzy hat buddies together, and then I thought, as a treat for maybe noticing that I had done that, I put a little, just like a little Squirtle as a treat. How is that a donut? Here, I'll show you the donut cat trick. Where did I put you, donut cat? Here you are. So Donut Cat started living inside of this donut. Yeah, place. So like, when you first get Donut Cat, he looks like this. But sometimes I separate them so others can enjoy a donut. And also because Cat likes to roam free and explore things. Anyway, congrats. Was that Critwitch in chat who noticed that, I think? Either way, congratulations to you and to anyone else perhaps playing alone or lurking for finding the secret Squirtle. We'll be back to complete this game maybe next week, as I stated. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care of yourselves in the meantime, and remember that you are clawsome.